You are a waste spirit root user of the 3rd yellow grade, hiding in a crowd, hoping to rely on an aptitude card to find a way out. But you accidentally enlightened the sect guarding stone tablet until it exploded. Not only are all the swords in the entire mountain gate weeping for you, but even the 3 nascent soul elders almost fought each other to claim you. At this moment, a cold voice resounded from the deepest part of the Azure Profound Sect. This child, I will take him. Outside the mountain gate of the Azure Profound Sect, it was a sea of people. The once in 3 years mountain opening to accept disciples attracted all the teenagers within a radius of thousands of miles who held dreams of chivalry. I squeezed into the crowd, wearing coarse cloth clothes washed until they turned white, looking at that 100 sword enlightenment tablet, with only one thought in my mind: must make a big splash. I have transmigrated for 14 years. Parents died early, raised by an old hunter. I don't even know many characters. A month ago, the system finally arrived, called the Strongest Master-Disciple System, giving me a Transcendent Aptitude card. The task is very simple: become a personal disciple of any powerhouse in the Azure Profound Sect. The higher the master's status, the richer the reward, with no upper limit. With the trash talent of a 3rd yellow grade, going through the normal process, even becoming a handyman is doubtful. If I want to reach the sky in one step, I can only package myself as a peerless monster. This sword enlightenment tablet, which carries 10,000 years of sword path heritage, is my only bargaining chip. System, use the Transcendent Aptitude card. A cool breath exploded from my mind. The chaotic carvings on the stone tablet began to decompose and reorganize. Streaks of sword light shuttled through my consciousness, domineering, agile, heavy, evolving the supreme principles of the sword path. I seemed to see a swordsman waving the first sword to split heaven and earth in the chaos. Buzz! A tremor sounded from my body, louder and louder, more and more urgent. An invisible, sharp aura spread fiercely. What sound is this? Why is this wind like a knife? People nearby were so scared that they retreated again and again. Clang, clang, clang. All the long swords in the square began to vibrate violently, out of control, weeping like a tide, as if worshipping a king. Thousands of swords issued high-pitched laments at the same time. That sharp aura turned into a substantial storm. Disciples with low cultivation fell to the ground in rows. The faces of those Azure Profound Sect disciples in front of the mountain gate turned pale. The leader stammered and spat out 2 words: sword, sword intent. A teenager who hasn't even entered the sect has grasped sword intent. Bone age is at most 15 or 16. This is no longer a genius. This is an immortal descending to earth. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several streams of light broke through the air from deep within the sect. Several elders who were usually elusive were all disturbed, landing directly in front of me. 15 years old, 5th grade sword intent. I have cultivated for 300 years. Never heard of such a thing. An elder with white hair was even trembling. This child is fated with me. From today on, he is a personal disciple of my Purple Haze Peak. A beautiful woman in palace attire spoke first. Hold on. This boy is a born sword cultivator. Should enter my battle sword peak. The burly elder immediately opposed. Humph. Stop arguing, all of you. I see this child has a steady temperament, just right for inheriting the heritage of my Pill Cauldron Peak. The white-haired elder stroked his beard and interrupted. The 3 of them argued on the spot. Lin Qingwan said my Purple Haze Peak softness conquering hardness fits his temperament. The burly elder said, what do you know? A swordsman should have sharpness. The white-haired elder said, you too. One fighting and killing, one playing with words, have no future. Come to my Pill Cauldron Peak and take spirit pills like candies. Zhou, you surnamed fellow, what are you meddling in? That's right. Your Pill Cauldron Peak sword techniques are almost lost. The 3 elders' auras collided in midair. The invisible pressure was like mountains and seas overturning. All the teenagers in the square, including those disciples, were paralyzed on the ground, without even the qualification to stand. A wealthy young master in the crowd who got a spot through connections, even wet his pants. So money really isn't omnipotent here. I, in the center of the storm, slowly opened my eyes, my head still a bit swollen, but the 10,000 sword marks on the stone tablet had turned into the purest sword logic and melted into my soul. The system prompt sounded. Congratulations to the host for comprehending sword intent. Current sword intent level, 5th grade. I had no ripples in my heart, and even wanted to laugh a little. I thought I could get a 4th grade and attract 1 or 2 elders, which would be the limit. I didn't expect to directly drop a nuke and hook all the big bosses of the sect. Just as I was about to say something, an indescribably terrifying aura quietly descended from the deepest part of the Azure Profound Sect, gentle but making people unable to raise a single thought of resistance. The 3 elders, who were red-faced with anger a second ago, collectively fell silent, bowing in unison, their faces full of horror and awe. The entire mountain gate square was dead silent. A cold voice resounded leisurely. This child, I will take him. I stood in the middle of the crowd paralyzed on the ground, looking up towards the depths of the sect. That aura was too ancient. So ancient that even the 3 elders dared not look up directly. I don't even know who the owner of that voice is, what realm, what identity, but the no upper limit reward description on the system panel was jumping in my brain like fire at this moment. Welcome. Before they could finish their words, above the sky, several more magnificent and vast auras tore through the clouds, booming down. The streams of light dissipated, revealing several figures. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a profound black sect sect master's robe, with a dignified face. He was the contemporary sect master of the Azure Profound Sect, Yan Jingxian. Behind him were several supreme elders with white hair and beards, with ancient auras, as if they had merged with heaven and earth. These people were the true pillars of the Azure Profound Sect. Pay respects to the sect master. Pay respects to all supreme elders. All the disciples in the square knelt on the ground, not even daring to lift their heads. This lineup directly stunned everyone. What's going on? Isn't it just accepting a disciple? How come even the sect master and the supreme elders who have been in closed-door cultivation for many years are out? Yan Jingxian didn't look at them at all. All his attention was focused on the only person standing in the field, Zhao Ruoan. What a sword path embryo! Yan Jingxian exclaimed. This child shall be my personal disciple, inheriting my position as sect master. As soon as this was said, the whole scene was dead silent. Sect master's personal disciple, and to inherit the position of sect master. What a massive stroke of luck. Those wealthy young masters paralyzed on the ground were already completely numb. However, just as Yan Jingxian finished speaking, a supreme elder behind him coughed lightly. Sect master, that's incorrect. This child's sword intent is heaven-made, and is a perfect match for my supreme oblivion sword. He should be initiated into my sect. Another supreme elder also stood out. Old man Wang, your sword technique will make people cut off emotions and desires if practiced. Don't harm a good seedling. This baby, still follow me to practice the vast righteousness sword, which is safer. Fart. Our Azure Profound Sect is founded on the sword. We should practice the domineering sword. Following me is the righteous path. Good fellow. The war fire that had just subsided rekindled instantly, and the scale was directly upgraded. The sect master and supreme elders, in front of thousands of new disciples, for the sake of a teenager, argued again. If this gets out, the entire cultivation world of the Great Xia will be shaken 3 times. Zhao Ruoan stood in the center of the storm. His heart was blooming with joy. This wave is stable. Just as this group of big bosses were arguing endlessly, and saliva was flying, a 7-colored rainbow light came from the edge of the sky, without earth-shaking momentum, but it made the whole world quiet down. The rainbow light landed silently in the center of the square. The light dissipated, revealing a peerless independent white-clothed figure. That was a woman. She just stood there quietly, but it seemed to be the only one in this world. The wind stopped. The clouds rested. Even that noisy sword chirping disappeared. The sect master and supreme elders, who were red-faced with anger a moment ago, closed their mouths collectively the moment they saw her. Cloud senior uncle. Sect master Yan Jingxuan's Adam's apple rolled, and he spat out 3 words with difficulty. The supreme elders behind him even bowed in unison, performing a junior salute. We meet Elder Cloud. The whole scene fell into deathly silence again. An existence that can make the sect master call her senior uncle, and make the supreme elders perform a junior salute. The identity of this woman had already been revealed. The legend of the Azure Profound Sect, the needle in the needle of the pillars, the ceiling of combat power. Yun Qinghan, a peerless monster who was only 50 years old, but had already cultivated to the peak of the divine ability realm, with 1 foot stepped into the transcendent realm. It is rumored that she is devoted to the Tao, cold and isolated, never participates in the secular affairs of the sect, and only accepted 3 female disciples under her sect, never accepting male disciples. Today, why would she appear here? Isn't she always in the death pass impacting the transcendent realm? A supreme elder muttered in a low voice. Could it be for this kid? Another person responded, his tone full of disbelief. Yun Qinghan didn't respond to everyone's astonishment. Her appearance itself was an attitude. She spoke faintly. This child, I will take him. A smile was forced onto Yan Jingxuan's face. Cloud's senior uncle. This does not comply with the rules, right? Don't you never accept male disciples? And this child is a swordpath genius rarely seen in 10,000 years, crucial to our sect's future heritage. He wanted to make a final effort. After all, this is the seedling of the future sect master. Letting it go like this, he was unwilling. Yun Qinghan finally looked at him squarely. Rules? She asked a question back. I am the rule. Yan Jingxuan's face turned red. A supreme elder with the oldest qualifications bit the bullet and stepped forward, persuading. Elder Cloud, please think twice about this matter. The sect master is also thinking for the sake of the sect's grand plan. If this child can inherit the position of sect master, it will be for the development of our Azure Profound Sect for the next 100 years. Yun Qinghan interrupted him. Half a year. She spat out 2 words. Everyone was stunned, didn't understand what it meant. Within half a year, I will surely enter the transcendent realm. Yun Qinghan's voice was still plain, but the words spoken were like a thunderbolt from the 9 heavens, exploding in the hearts of all the top level. Half a year. Transcendent realm. What does this mean? It means that the Azure Profound Sect will have a giant standing at the top of the entire eastern region. The value of a transcendent realm powerhouse is greater than 100 so-called genius disciples added together. Never mind a Zhao Ruoan. Even if the geniuses of the entire Azure Profound Sect were packed and sent to her, as long as it could be exchanged for a transcendent realm powerhouse, that would be a bloody profit. Yan Jingxian and several supreme elders looked at each other, all seeing bitterness and helplessness in the other's expression. Cannot argue. If they argue again, then it's being ignorant. In front of a big boss who is about to advance to the transcendent realm, any rules and sect grand plans all seem so ridiculous. We See, follow Elder Cloud's decree. Yan Jingxian lowered his proud head. Other supreme elders also bowed in unison, indicating agreement. This scramble for a disciple battle that disturbed the entire sect's top level ended in the most incredible way. Yun Qinghan, with one person's power, suppressed the whole scene. After solving all the flies, only then did she take a step, with lotus steps moving, slowly walking to Zhao Ruoan's front. A faint fragrance drifted into the tip of his nose. Zhao Ruoan felt his heartbeat skip a beat. He could feel, in the body of the woman in front of him, contained a terrifying power capable of destroying this world. At the same time, he also sensed some curiosity and appreciation from the other party. Yun Qinghan was also sizing up Zhao Ruoan, 15 years old, cultivation at the third level of body refining, third grade yellow talent, plain, can even be said to be very poor, but it was in such a body, that a fifth grade top sword intent that even she felt stunning was bred. This kind of aptitude, even in the upper world where immortals and demons coexist, is enough to be called top tier. Picked up a treasure. Are you willing to worship me as your master? Yun Qinghan spoke again. Her voice was still cold. Zhao Ruoan's heart jumped fiercely. Worship as master? Is this even worth asking? The person in front of him is the living legend of the Azure Profound Sect, the needle in the needle of the pillars, the ceiling of combat power, cultivated to the peak of the divine ability realm at 50. What kind of concept is this? Ordinary cultivators 50 years old could cultivate to golden core. That would be enough to burn high incense before the ancestors' graves, and comfort the ancestors. Not to mention, the rules of this person are famously strange, never accepting male disciples. Today she broke the precedent for himself. This thigh, not holding it means having a pit in the brain. He didn't hesitate for a second. Both knees softened, facing that white-clothed figure, respectfully kowtowed 3 times. Disciple Zhao Ruoan pays respects to master. The voice was clear. The action was crisp. Success. Yan Jingxian and several supreme elders saw this. All sighed at the same time. Their faces were full of 4 words. Painfully lost my love. No way. Cannot compete. Just the moment Zhao Ruoan's forehead touched the ground. Ding. The cold system prompt tone rang punctually in his mind. Congratulations to the host. Main quest, worship master and learn art. Over completed. Starting quest assessment. Assessment target. Yun Qinghan. Identity verification. Azure Profound Sect Supreme Elder. Peak of Divine Ability Realm. Warning. Detected a higher order status. Re-verifying. Zhao Ruoan was stunned. Higher order status? What thing? Ding. Final identity verification. Reincarnated Immortal Emperor. Fragmented Soul Awakened State. Comprehensive Assessment Level. SSS Plus. Highest. Assessment completed. Starting to issue the highest level reward. Zhao Ruoan's brain buzzed. Blank. Immortal. Immortal Emperor Reincarnation. I worshipped an Immortal Emperor as my master. Is this script a bit too advanced? I just wanted to find a thigh. Never thought about directly holding on to the creator. Before he could recover from this shocking secret, the system's reward had already smashed down. Congratulations to the host. Cultivation talent upgraded from 3rd grade yellow to 9th grade immortal. Congratulations to the host. Obtained supreme and ultimate cultivation technique Tao Sutra. Boom. As if some invisible shackles snapped in the depths of his soul, completely shattered. The whole world changed in his perception. If the previous world was a blurry black and white painting, then now, this painting directly turned into 4K ultra-high definition full color, with Dolby panoramic sound. In the air, the heaven and earth spiritual energy that he could not perceive at all before, became incredibly vivid at this moment. They were no longer illusory concepts, but strands, threads, colorful like mist, happily floating between heaven and earth. What made him even more horrified was, these spiritual energy light mists were like crazy drilling into his body, without him needing to actively absorb them. The spiritual energy was lining up and squeezing into his pores, scrambling to get in, afraid of not being able to squeeze in. This is 9th grade immortal talent, terror-inspiring to this extent. At the same time, a profound torrent of information poured into his mind, turning into a scripture called Tao Sutra. This cultivation technique has no grade, or rather, its grade has exceeded the definition range of the system. Its characteristics only have one: all-weather, full automatic, autonomous idle cultivation. As long as the cultivation technique is mastered, it will work like breathing and heartbeat, running automatically 24 hours a day without interruption, swallowing heaven and earth spiritual energy, tempering the flesh, strengthening the soul. The most perverted thing is, it can fuse 10,000 das. Any cultivation technique or martial art, as long as it is absorbed by it, can be automatically pushed to the highest realm. And the foundation is deep. The spiritual energy is pure, far exceeding 10,000 times that of the same level. Zhao Ruoan could feel a weak but incomparably pure warm current had already begun to follow the meridians in his body, slowly flowing. This is still practicing a hammer. Just lie flat. This rebellious thought popped up in his heart. Get up. Yun Qinghan's cold voice pulled him back to reality. A gentle force lifted him up. Your aptitude for enlightenment, rarely seen in eternity, just based on this point, is enough to reach the peak. The cumbersome examinations of the sect are useless to you. Yun Qinghan's voice paused. However, the process must still be followed. Master also wants to see, you who can breed such sword intent, what your innate bones are really like. Once this was said, Zhao Ruoan almost laughed out loud. Someone sent a pillow pillow when he was sleepy. He was just worried that this 9th grade immortal talent had nowhere to display. And the opportunity came. Everything is at master's disposal, he replied respectfully on the surface. But in his heart, he was already looking forward to the scene later. Senior Uncle Cloud is right. Sect Master Yan Jingxian hurriedly leaned over, his face full of kind smiles. Where is there any previous domineering? Zhao Ruoan. I am the sect master of this sect. Yan Jingxian, if you have anything in the sect later, you can come to the main hall of the Heavenly Palace to find me anytime. And me, old man, Battle Sword Peak Master, Wang Batian. Boy, if you want to practice sword later, come to my Battle Sword Peak anytime. Old man will personally guide you. That burly elder also squeezed over, patting his chest to guarantee. Cough cough. The pills of my pill cauldron peak. Use them as you like. My purple haze peak. The elders who were high above just now, at this moment were respectful one by one, competing to show goodwill to Zhao Ruoan. They all knew, this teenager has heaven-defying aptitude, now worshipped Yun Qinghan as his master. Future achievements are limitless, destined to be the pillar of the sect in the future. If you don't build a good relationship now, then when? Zhao Ruoan responded freely, arched his hands and saluted one by one, neither humble nor arrogant. Disciple meets the sect master, meets all elders. His attitude was gentle and humble, making the big bosses watch more and more satisfied. Seeing too many geniuses, seeing one so monstrous and so sensible and humble, truly the first time, since it is to be tested. It cannot use that common goods in the mountain gate to express. Yan Jingxian took the initiative to take out a head-sized purple crystal stone from his storage ring. This crystal stone was deep purple. Lightning seemed to flash inside. One look knew it was not a common item. This is the Zixiao spirit measuring stone collected by our sect, an upper-grade magic tool, specially used to detect the talent of core disciples. Even the talent of peak divine ability realm experts can be measured roughly. Yan Jingxian placed the Zixiao spirit measuring stone on the ground in front of Zhao Ruoan. Come, Zhao Ruoan, put your hand on it. Just run your spiritual energy with all your strength. For a time, everyone's attention was focused on that purple crystal stone. They were also very curious. This swordpath genius with monstrous enlightenment aptitude. What exactly is his cultivation talent grade? According to common reasoning, aptitude is so high. Talent should not be too bad. Having an upper grade Xian grade would be not bad. Zhao Ruoan took a deep breath, suppressing the excitement in his heart. The moment to show off arrived. He stretched out his right hand, slowly pressed on that cold Zixiao spirit measuring stone. Zhao Ruoan stretched out his right hand, slowly pressed on that cold Zixiao spirit measuring stone. Buzz! A dull roar sounded. The Zixiao spirit measuring stone seemed to have been thrown into a volcanic crater with 10,000 tons of explosives. The interior was instantly swallowed by a dazzling pure white light. That light was overbearing, not something that purple crystal could bear at all. Crack! A subtle crack appeared on the surface of the crystal stone. Following closely was the second one, the third one. The crack spread wildly like a spider web. Yan Jingxuan's smile stiffened. He tried to take back the spirit measuring stone with the fastest speed, but it was already too late. Boom! A loud bang. That priceless piece, enough to be the town sect treasure of a small sect, the upper-grade magic tool Zixiao spirit measuring stone, right under the eyes of everyone, exploded into sky-filling powder. Powder flying, like purple snowflakes, drifting. The whole scene, dead silent. Thousands of newly entered disciples, each one opened their mouths wide, dumbfounded. Those supreme elders also looked unbelievable. Sect Master Yan Jingxian, the whole person petrified. He stared blankly at the pile of purple powder on the ground. His heart was bleeding. My baby, ah, spendthrift, too spendthrift. This is the Zixiao spirit measuring stone. Ah, damn it, exploded. Don't know who was the first to shout tremblingly, breaking this weird silence. Can a spirit measuring stone also explode? This guy is too awesome, right? Aptitude is heaven-defying. Forget it. Talent test directly smashed the stone into pieces. This is no longer a question of whether it is fierce or not. This is simply not human. Finished. Originally still thinking of catching up. Now good. People are directly in another dimension. The noise in the square was noisy. All the gazes cast towards Zhao Ruoan were full of indescribable awe. Zhao Ruoan himself was also stunned. He was just following Yan Jingxuan's words, running the Tao Sutra in his body. Result: that weak warm current just once in contact with the spirit measuring stone. The stone was like seeing a ghost, and exploded by itself. This can't be porcelain touching, framing. Yan Jingxian finally came back to his senses from the sadness of losing the magic treasure. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. He walked to the pile of powder, squatted down and pinched a little, carefully sensed the residual aura. After a moment, he stood up, and said in a dreamlike tone, the limit of the Zixiao spirit measuring stone is to detect heaven-grade talent. His voice clearly entered everyone's ears. It broke. There is only one explanation. Yan Jingxuan's body trembled slightly because of excitement. His talent transcended the heaven grade. Transcended heaven grade. As soon as these four words were spoken, everyone was stunned again. Yellow, Xian, Earth, Heaven. These are the talent grades recognized by the secular world. Heaven grade is already one of the legendary few, rare to be met in 1,000 years, enough to support the luck of a top sect. What is transcending heaven grade? Is it spirit grade, or the immortal grade that only exists in the myths of the upper world? No one dared to think further. Those supreme elders, looking at Yun Qinghan's expression, were no longer envious, but naked jealousy. Picked up a ghost. This old woman going out is absolutely stepping on the dogshit luck of 8 lifetimes. So that's it. Yun Qinghan, who had been silent, finally spoke again. Her voice seemed to have more fluctuations. She didn't look at anyone else anymore, just said to Zhao Ruoan, "Let's go." As the voice fell, a gentle force wrapped around Zhao Ruoan. He only felt his feet lighten, and his whole body was uncontrollably lifted into the air. Yun Qinghan's clothes fluttered, taking him into a stream of light, flying towards the sea of clouds in the deepest part of the azure profound sect, leaving behind a group of sect top levels in the square, and thousands of new disciples who doubted their lives. This was Zhao Ruoan's first time flying. The gang winds were isolated by an invisible shield. He could clearly overlook the entire azure profound sect below, continuous mountain ranges like the spine of a giant dragon, tens of thousands of palaces and pavilions decorated between them, clouds circling, immortal cranes flying together, countless streams of light of different sizes shuttled between the mountains. Those were sect disciples flying on swords. What a style of immortal family. Very quickly, they passed through heavy clouds and mist, and arrived at an independent mountain peak floating above the sea of clouds. This mountain peak was beautiful and peerless, exotic flowers and herbs everywhere. Spiritual energy was so rich that it almost turned into substantial mist. There was also a 7-colored waterfall falling from the top of the mountain, like a fairyland. The two landed lightly in front of the palace on the top of the mountain. "This is Qinghan Peak, my cultivation place." Yun Qinghan's voice sounded beside him. "Inside the peak, besides you and me, there are also your 3 senior sisters. Among your 3 senior sisters, eldest senior sister Luo Li is still in the peak. The second senior sister and the third senior sister are gaining experience outside. Later we will see each other." After Yun Qinghan finished explaining, she whispered to the empty front of the hall, "Qiuyin, Zaimuo." As soon as the words fell, 2 beautiful shadows walked out quickly from the hall, bowing to Yun Qinghan. Met the master. These were 2 girls aged 16 or 17, one wearing an autumn fragrance-colored dress, one wearing a light green gauze clothes. Appearance was beautiful and clear, figure graceful. Since childhood, they had grown up in Qinghan Peak, never seen men from the outside, now seeing Zhao Ruoan. 2 pretty faces all flushed with a touch of shy redness. "This is your little senior uncle, Zhao Ruoan. From today on, you are responsible for taking care of his daily life," Yun Qinghan ordered. "Yes." The 2 maids hurriedly turned to Zhao Ruoan, bowing respectfully. "Servants Qiuyin, Zaimuo, meet little senior uncle." The voice was like an oriole leaving the valley, crisp and pleasant. 2 sisters, no need to be polite. Zhao Ruoan smiled gently, taking the initiative to support them slightly. His attitude was humble and polite, without a bit of genius's arrogance, making the 2 maids feel favorable instantly. Arranged everything. Yun Qinghan looked at Zhao Ruoan. "You were born in the mundane world, presumably have nothing of value," she said, turning her plain hand. An ancient bronze ring appeared in her palm. "This Sumuru ring shall be the gift from master for your master apprenticeship." The ring automatically flew in front of Zhao Ruoan. "Drop blood to recognize the owner. The inner space is enough for you to use." Zhao Ruoan took the ring. A wave of warmth welled up in his heart. This immortal emperor master, although cold on the outside, but her mind is very delicate, even considered such small things for him. "Thank you, master." He thanked her solemnly. Afterwards, he bit his fingertip, and dropped a drop of blood on the ring. The ring flashed with light, instantly establishing a sense of blood-connected relationship with him. Zhao Ruoan fueled his spiritual energy, and probed into that Sumuru ring. The next second, his consciousness seemed to be pulled into a brand new dimension. An amazingly vast space appeared in his perception. Inside the space, stacked with small mountains of things. On the left side, that small mountain, crystal clear, emitting rich spiritual energy fluctuations. It was stacks of spirit stones. Zhao Ruoan scanned roughly, and only felt his scalp tingle. The quality of these spirit stones far exceeded any kind he had seen on the Mountain Gate Square. Each one contained surging energy. "This is 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones, enough for you to cultivate to the Golden Core realm." Yun Qinghan's voice sounded timely. Gulp. Zhao Ruoan swallowed his saliva. 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones. He had heard sect deacons introduce before. An outer disciple, monthly allowance, is 10 low-grade spirit stones. The exchange ratio of middle-grade spirit stones to low-grade spirit stones is 1 to 100. That is to say, this huge sum of money he has now is equivalent to the salary of an outer disciple working for 8,300 years without eating or drinking. Is this the wealthy master of Immortal Emperor reincarnation? Loved it, loved it. Zhao Ruoan's perception continued to move, falling on another pile of items. That was a sword with a scabbard. The scabbard was ancient, pitch black all over, couldn't see the material, but the gems embedded in the handle were shining in the space. "This is Jinghong, middle-grade spirit tool, slicing iron like mud, blowing hair and breaking it, has 30% amplification for spiritual energy conduction, temporarily enough for you to use." Zhao Ruoan's heart accelerated uncontrollably. His perception finally fell fell on a white jade slip the size of a palm in the corner. The surface of the jade slip was streaming with light. One look knew it was not a common item. This is the heavenly grade top-tier sword classic. The first part of the Jingxian sword classic. Yun Qinghan's voice finally carried some solemnity. This sword classic was obtained in my early years of traveling. Its grade far exceeds any cultivation technique in the Sect's library. The first part is enough to support your cultivation to the Spirit Sea realm. Wait until your realm is sufficient. Master will naturally pass you the subsequent cultivation techniques. Heaven grade top tier. Zhao Ruoan felt his breathing stop. The Zixiao spirit measuring stone Yan Jingxian took out. The limit of detection was heaven grade. Now, Yun Qinghan gave him a heavenly grade top tier sword classic just like that. This master apprenticeship gift is not just generous, it's simply inhuman. Master, this, too precious. Zhao Ruoan exited his consciousness from the ring space, and said sincerely, no problem. Yun Qinghan's tone returned to being cold. You are my disciple. These are all what you deserve. Qinghan Peak does not raise idlers, and does not raise waste. Go. Do not slack off in cultivation. As the voice fell, she turned and walked into the hall. Her figure disappeared in the circling mist. Zhao Ruoan faced the direction of the main hall, bowed deeply. This master, although she doesn't speak much, but she really gets things done. Little senior uncle, we will take you to your residence. Qiuyin and Xiamuo's voices pulled him back to reality. Two girls were standing beside him. Trouble you two sisters. Zhao Ruoan collected his thoughts, smiled gently. The three of them followed the mountain path paved with white jade, walking towards the depths of the mountain peak. Along the way, exotic flowers bloomed, immortal herbs everywhere. The rich spiritual energy in the air made people feel refreshed just by inhaling. From time to time, strange spirit birds flew across the woods, not afraid of people, curiously sizing up Zhao Ruoan, this strange visitor. On the way, they also met several girls who were also wearing maid clothes. Those girls were all stunned the moment they saw Zhao Ruoan, faces full of shock. Qinghan Peak, how can there be a man? What are you all looking at? This is the personal disciple newly accepted by the master, the only little senior uncle of our Qinghan Peak. Zhao Ruoan. Qiuyin raised her willow eyebrows, took the initiative to stand out, and whispered to those maids. Those maids heard this, bodies trembled, hurriedly lowered their heads, bowing respectfully towards the direction of Zhao Ruoan. Meet little senior uncle. Zhao Ruoan didn't have a bit of arrogance, stepped forward, supported them slightly. Older sisters, no need to be polite, all get up. His gentle and humble attitude made those maids who were already scared out of their wits all breathe a sigh of relief, waiting for them to get up. Zhao Ruoan also nodded gently to them. This action made Qiuyin and Xiamuo, the two close-fitting maids, all feel strange feelings in their hearts. They had seen many geniuses, those personal disciples of the sect master and elders. Which one was not looking at people with nostrils? This little senior uncle clearly had heaven-defying talent, yet was so approachable. Truly a strange person, and also a very good person. Very quickly, the two brought Zhao Ruoan to a small independent courtyard by the cliff. The small courtyard is not big, but extremely elegant. Inside the courtyard, there is a bamboo forest, stone tables and stools. There is also a clear spring, bubbling with spiritual energy. Pushing open the courtyard door, one can overlook the magnificent mountains and rivers of the entire Azure Profound Sect, clouds and seas churning. The view is excellent. Little senior uncle, this is your residence, Tingtao Pavilion. It was specially prepared for you by the master. Xia Mo's voice was crisp like an oriole. Everything needed in the courtyard was already prepared. If you have any further needs, you can command us at any time. In daily life, we will keep watch outside the courtyard. If you have any matters, just ring the bell by the bedside. Qiuyin added. After speaking, her cheeks turned red again. Bathing and changing clothes, and other intimate matters. You can also call us. Zhao Ruoan, a modern soul. How could he not understand the meaning behind these words? He coughed lightly, breaking this slightly ambiguous atmosphere. Many thanks, my two sisters. I have noted it all down. You have also had a hard day. Go and rest first. I can manage it myself. His attitude was calm, and his sense of propriety was just right, expressing gratitude, while tactfully refusing overly intimate service. Yes, then little senior uncle, please rest early. We will not disturb you anymore. Qiuyin and Xia Mo were granted an amnesty, hurriedly bowed, and escaped from the small courtyard as if fleeing. Watching the backs of the two as they left, Zhao Ruoan smiled helplessly. He closed the courtyard gate, and turned to walk into the house. The furnishings inside the room were simple yet stylish, everywhere revealing an elegant atmosphere. He didn't rush to rest, but sat cross-legged on the futon. With a thought, the jade slip recording the Jingxian Sword Classic appeared in his hand. A wisp of spiritual energy probed into it. A massive torrent of information instantly flooded into his mind. Countless profound sword moves, deep sword theories, turned into golden ancient characters, circling in his sea of consciousness, worthy of being a heavenly grade top-tier sword classic. Its degree of exquisiteness is far beyond those basic sword intents he comprehended on the Mountain Gate tablet before. If it were anyone else, getting this kind of cultivation technique, they would probably be overjoyed on the spot, and immediately start contemplating and practicing. But Zhao Ruoan only felt it slightly, then set it aside. It is good, but compared to my Tao Sutra, it is just a little brother. He calmed his mind, and began to focus all his attention Ruoan, on the supreme cultivation technique within his body, Tao Sutra, following the guidance of his thought. This all-weather autonomous idol cultivation technique was actively operated by him. Boom! Almost at the same time the cultivation technique started to operate, the spiritual energy of the entire Qinghan Peak, riotous, with the Tingtao Pavilion where Zhao Ruoan was as the center, forming a huge, visible vortex of spiritual energy. Endless heaven and earth spiritual energy poured into his body like crazy. The ninth grade immortal talent, at this moment, revealed a ferocious and terrifying corner. Zhao Ruoan's body greedily devoured everything. Crack! A crisp sound resounded within his body. The bottleneck of the third level of body refining shattered at the sound. Fourth level of body refining. This was not over. The massive torrent of spiritual energy did not pause in the slightest, continuing to scour his limbs and bones, tempering his muscles, bones, skin, and membranes. His physical strength was crazily improving at an unbelievable speed, in less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Crack! Another crisp sound. Fifth level of body refining. The massive spiritual energy vortex still had no sign of weakening. Instead, it became even more intense. Zhao Ruoan was completely wrapped in thick spiritual mist, his figure becoming blurry. His cultivation was still galloping all the way. Crack! Sixth level of body refining. If Yan Jingxian and the others saw this, they would probably have their Dao hearts shattered on the spot, doubt their lives. Others painstakingly tempered their bodies, spending months or even a year to break through one level of the realm. To him, it was as simple as eating and drinking. The roaring sound in Zhao Ruoan's body did not pause. Crack! Seventh level of body refining. Still not over. Crack! Eighth level of body refining. Crack! Ninth level of body refining. Until the peak of the body refining realm, that violent torrent of spiritual energy finally had a tendency to weaken. When the last wisp of spiritual energy was absorbed by his body, the vortex dissipated, everything returned to calm. Zhao Ruoan slowly opened his eyes, and breathed out a long breath of turbid air. He looked down at his own hands, knuckles distinct, treasure light faintly flowing under the skin. Ninth grade immortal talent, matched with the supreme cultivation technique. Is the effect so outrageous? Zhao Ruoan himself felt it was a bit unreal. The all-weather automatic idle state of Tao Sutra, plus the terrifying efficiency when actively operating. It is simply a super cheat in the cultivation world. He had a thought, looking inside himself. In the Dantian Sea, the mysterious Tao Sutra ancient scroll was quietly suspended, emitting an ancient and immortal aura. No, this thing is too heaven-defying, must never be exposed. Zhao Ruoan made up his mind. In the future, to the outside world, he would claim that he was practicing the Jingxian sword classic bestowed by his master. The Tao Sutra, as his biggest trump card, must be hidden tightly. Stay humble, to live long. Having made up his mind, he took out the jade slip recording the Jingxian sword classic from the Sumera ring. His divine sense probed into it. This time, he settled his mind, and began to study it seriously. Thanks to the Tao Sutra, and its parsing of the essence of the heaven and earth Tao, Zhao Ruoan's enlightenment aptitude was raised to an unimaginable level. Those sword moves and sword theories that were incomparably profound to others, were all simple and straightforward in his eyes. First move, startled swan. Second move, chasing wind. Third move, falling moon. A set of heavenly grade top-tier sword classic. In his hands, did not have the slightest stagnation. In just 1 hour, he had mastered all 9 basic sword moves recorded in the first part of the Jingxian sword classic. This learning speed can be called terrifying. Only on the last move, also the most powerful move, sword through the clouds, he encountered a bottleneck. This sword requires the combination of energy and force, piercing through all obstacles. Its difficulty far exceeds the sum of the previous 9 moves. Zhao Ruoan tried several times, but could not condense that power perfectly. It seems that after the transcendent aptitude card is used up, there is still a limit. He was not discouraged, and put away the jade slip. The road of cultivation is not achieved overnight. Rising to the peak of body refining in one night is already ridiculous enough. One shouldn't be too greedy. He got up and pushed open the door. The sky was already bright. The morning sunshine fell on his body, warm and pleasant. Little senior uncle, you're awake. From outside the courtyard came Chiu Yin's crisp voice. She and Xia Mo were waiting outside the door with washing tools and brand new sect costumes, pretty and standing still. Seeing Zhao Ruoan come out, the two little pretty faces flushed red again in unison. One night later, this little senior uncle's temperament seemed to have changed somewhat again. Trouble you two sisters. Zhao Ruoan gently took the items, changed into the moon-white robe exclusive to the personal disciples of the Azure Profound Sect, with a jade belt tied around his waist, black hair tied up with a simple wooden hairpin. The whole person looked even more handsome, elegant and dust-free. Chiu Yin and Xia Mo, the two little girls, were both infatuated. Little senior uncle, master ordered yesterday, starting today, you can go to the Law Transmission Hall of Qinghan Peak to listen to lectures, or go to the library pavilion to look up classics. If you want to practice sword techniques, there is a dedicated martial arts arena in the back mountain. Xia Mo whispered a reminder. Good, I've noted it. Zhao Ruoan nodded. Just at this time, Chiu Yin seemed to remember something, and hurriedly said, by the way, little senior uncle, eldest senior sister just sent a message, saying she is coming to see you. Calculating the time, she should should be almost here. Eldest senior sister. Zhao Ruoan remembered Master Yun Qinghan's explanation. Qinghan Peak, besides him, had 3 senior sisters. Eldest senior sister Luo Li is still in the peak. He was just thinking. A cold and sharp aura, without warning, came from under the mountain. Qiao Yin and Xia Mo, the 2 maids with low cultivation. Under this aura, their faces were pale. Zhao Ruoan's eyebrows raised. The 5th grade sword intent in his body operated on its own, forming an invisible barrier, protecting the 2 maids behind him. That cold sword intent seemed to detect his resistance. Not only did it not hold back, but became even stronger. A white-clothed figure walked up the mountain path step by step. The person who came was a woman. She was wearing simple white combat clothes, long hair tied high into a ponytail, tall figure, curvature amazing. Her appearance was cold and gorgeous to the extreme. Behind her, carried a scabbard long sword. The sword was not out of the scabbard, but the air of the entire Qinghan Peak became heavy because of her arrival. Met eldest senior sister. Qiao Yin and Xia Mo hurriedly bowed. Luo Li, eldest senior sister of Qinghan Peak, the most famous swordpath genius among the younger generation of the great Xia dynasty, rumored that she learned sword at 3, understood sword intent at 10, 3rd grade sword intent at 15, now only over 20. Her swordpath cultivation has reached the state of perfection. Luo Li didn't pay attention to the 2 maids. All her attention was concentrated on the sword intent no less than hers around Zhao Ruoan. 5th grade sword intent. She finally spoke. The voice was the same as her temperament, cold as ice. Not bad. Zhao Ruoan responded neither humbly nor arrogantly. Between the 2, invisible sword intent collided in the air, emitting a series of subtle crackling sounds. The surrounding bamboo leaves moved without wind, rustling. A moment later, Luo Li took the initiative to take back her sword intent. Just finished closed-door cultivation. Didn't hold back. Don't mind, she said faintly, counting as an explanation. Senior sister is polite. Zhao Ruoan also dispersed the sword intent, and smiled gently. Junior brother Zhao Ruoan met eldest senior sister, Luo Li. She reported her name, counting as a formal acquaintance. Heard from master. You had a sudden enlightenment before the mountain gate stone tablet. Grasping the 5th grade sword intent, Luo Li asked. Luck. There is no luck in this world. Luo Li shook her head. The sword path. Every step is a footprint. Cannot tolerate the slightest falsehood. She walked to the stone table in the courtyard and sat down. Poured herself a cup of tea by herself. I just finished closed-door cultivation. Lucky enough to break through. Sword intent reached the 7th grade. Pfft. Zhao Ruoan just wanted to take a sip of tea. Hearing this, almost didn't catch his breath. 7th grade sword intent? Big sister, you are only over 20. Do you have to be so rolled, competitive? This lineage of Qinghan Peak, is it that everyone is a monster? Master is an immortal emperor reincarnation. Eldest senior sister 20. 7th grade sword intent. Then the 2nd senior sister and 3rd senior sister who haven't met yet. What kind of heaven-defying physique are they? Zhao Ruoan's heart set off a monstrous wave, but on the surface, he was calm. Congratulations, senior sister. Nothing to congratulate. Luo Li's tone was plain. The sword path is boundless. 7th grade is just the beginning. She paused, continued. 2nd and 3rd. One is obsessed with alchemy. One is obsessed with arrays. Neither practice sword path. The entire Qinghan Peak. Just me. The only one practicing sword. It's very boring. Now that you have come, at least there is someone who can talk. Zhao Ruoan understood. This cold eldest senior sister is a sword fanatic. Because she couldn't find a like-minded person, she was almost stifled. Junior brother just entered the immortal path. Has many misunderstandings about the sword path. In the future, I hope senior sister will give more guidance. Zhao Ruoan said following the trend. Can. Luo Li agreed very crisply. The Jingxian sword classic master bestowed on you, right? I have also read that sword classic. If there are places you don't understand, you can come and ask me anytime. This is really a pillow being delivered when sleepy. Zhao Ruoan was just worrying that no one would guide him on sword through the clouds. Many thanks, senior sister. He arched his hands. Junior brother indeed has one place of misunderstanding. Say, junior brother, when practicing the last move of Jingxian sword classic, sword through the clouds, always feel spiritual energy operation is not smooth. Unable to perfectly condense sword intent and spiritual energy. Luo Li listened, put down the teacup. She glanced at Zhao Ruoan, and reminded in a calm tone. Cultivation cannot be eager for quick success. Jingxian sword classic is broad and profound. You just got the cultivation technique. Should start from the first move. Progress gradually. Lay a good foundation. In her opinion, this little junior brother, although having high talent, but after all, is just a beginner. Being impatient and impulsive is unavoidable. Wanting to practice the most difficult move upon starting is the common problem of all novices. However, Zhao Ruoan looked sincere. Many thanks, senior sister, for the reminder. However, the previous 9 moves, I have already mastered them all. Luo Li's hand holding the teacup stopped in mid-air. The 2 maids, Qiao Yin and Xia Mo, didn't even dare to take a loud breath. Little senior uncle's words were too scary. One night, mastering the first 9 moves of the heavenly grade sword classic. If this is said, the ancestor ancestors of the Azure Profound sect would all have to climb out of the grave and give him a thumbs up, praising him for being really able to brag. Say it again. Luoli didn't quite believe it. The previous 9 moves. I have already mastered them all. Zhao Ruoan's tone was calm and firm. Luoli gently put the teacup back on the stone table. She stood up, walked to in front of Zhao Ruoan, about 1.75 meters in height, making her, in front of Zhao Ruoan, only a little bit shorter than half a head. She just stood there, not saying a word. Zhao Ruoan was stared at by her until he felt fuzzy. This senior sister, won't she think I am bragging, and want to clean up the sect? The maids Chioin and Xiamuo behind were even more nervous and sweating. Little senior uncle, he wasn't doing it on purpose. Chioin summoned the courage, wanting to explain for Zhao Ruoan. Luoli didn't pay attention to her. Operate it once and let me see, she said to Zhao Ruoan. Good. Zhao Ruoan closed his eyes. His thought moved slightly. The next moment, a profound aura began to diffuse from his body. That was not spiritual energy, nor sword intent, but a unique momentum. First move, startled swan. A light and agile momentum, like a swan started, sweeping across the water surface. Second move, chasing wind. The momentum turned, becoming rapid like wind, formless and imageless. Third move, falling moon. The momentum sank like water, carrying a cold loneliness, like the moon falling behind the western mountain. 9 completely different sword momentums were all displayed one by one on his body like flowing water. Although he didn't use a thread of spiritual energy, but the bamboo leaves in the courtyard danced with the change of his aura, sometimes light, sometimes frantic, sometimes murderous. The 2 little girls, Chioin and Xiaomo, had already been completely stunned. Although their cultivation was not high, they also knew what this meant. This is the artistic conception of sword moves, completely fused into the bones. When the fiery sword momentum of the 9th move, Burning Heaven, dissipated, Zhao Ruoan converged his aura, opened his eyes. The entire small courtyard returned to calm. Luoli stood on the spot, unmoving. On that ice mountain face that had remained unchanged for 10,000 years, for the first time appeared a kind of emotion called confusion. She remembered when she got this sword classic back then. Master said, she was a 1 in 10,000 sword path genius. She took 2 whole days to comprehend the first 3 moves thoroughly, used a month to master all 9 moves. At that time, Master stroked her head, praising her for having an extraordinary talent. Blue from blue. But now, compared to this monster in front of her, what kind of genius is she? Senior sister, Zhao Ruoan called tentatively. Luoli's body trembled slightly, came back to her senses. She stepped forward, grabbed Zhao Ruoan's wrist. Follow me. Before the words fell, she pulled Zhao Ruoan, directly walked to the open space in the middle of the courtyard. Watch carefully. Luoli let go of her hand, backhanded and drew the ancient long sword from behind her back. Buzz. The moment the long sword left the scabbard, a clear sword chirping resounded through the clouds. The spiritual energy of the entire Qinghan Peak boiled because of this. Sword through the clouds is particular about the combination of intent and force, breaking through all obstacles. Your problem is only intent, no force. Your body cannot carry that explosive power yet. Remember this feeling. As the words fell, Luoli's figure disappeared from the spot. Replacing it was a white sword light that pierced the sky. That sword light, overbearing, sharp, sword light soared into the sky, directly into the sea of clouds. Boom! The clouds in the sky were chopped into a huge gap 1,000 meters long. Sunshine poured down from the gap, illuminating the entire Qinghan Peak. One sword, cloud breaking. Zhao Ruoan was completely stunned. This is sword through the clouds. This is senior sister's strength. Too ridiculous. Sword light dissipated. Luoli's figure reappeared in the courtyard. Long sword returned to scabbard. See clearly? She asked. Zhao Ruoan did not answer. He closed his eyes. In his mind, Dao Sutra frantically operated. Every detail of Luoli's sword strike just now, the operation of every strand of spiritual energy, the condensation of every point of sword intent, were all by Dao Sutra parsed, dismantled, reorganized. Countless profound insights surged to his heart. So that's how it is. Not forcibly needing spiritual energy and sword intent together, but using sword intent as a guide, prying the whole body's spiritual energy, forming resonance. Then in an instant, all poured out. This line of thinking, simply genius. Zhao Ruoan slowly opened his eyes towards Luoli, arched his hand sincerely. Many thanks, senior sister, for your guidance. I understand. Luoli nodded. Just wanted to say something like cultivation is not a one-day effort. Take it slow. But saw Zhao Ruoan point like a sword, slashed gently in front of him. Buzz. A sword intent with 7 or 8 parts similar to what Luoli displayed just now, condensed at his fingertips. Although weak, but the core momentum was not bad at all. The spiritual energy in his body was guided by this sword intent, followed the meridians, frantically surged towards the fingertips, soared through the clouds. Zhao Ruoan drank lightly. A white sword energy 3 feet long burst out from his fingertips. Sword energy pierced the air, collided with the bamboo forest not far away. Crack! A row of emerald green bamboos snapped at the sound. The cut was smooth as a mirror. Although the power compared to that sword of Luoli had a world of difference, but that artistic conception of piercing through the clouds and moving forward courageously was exactly the same. He really only watched it once and learned it. The entire Tingtao pavilion again fell into a weird silence. Luo Li looked at the boy standing tall and handsome in front of her. A thought uncontrollably emerged from the bottom of her heart. In this world, how can there be such a perfect person? Don't know which unlucky fairy will have the luck to stand by his side in the future. Thinking of this, her cheeks were actually a bit hot. Cough. Luo Li coughed lightly. Not bad. Her voice restored its coldness, but listening carefully, could hear some fluctuations. To be able to comprehend to this degree after watching once, your aptitude is indeed above mine. It's all thanks to senior sister's good teaching, Zhao Ruoan said modestly. Nothing to do with me. It's you yourself who are amazing. Luo Li waved her hand. She is not the type who likes to claim credit. She walked to Zhao Ruoan's side, helped him straighten his slightly messy collar. This intimate action made Zhao Ruoan stunned for a moment, also made Xiao Yin and Xia Mo behind, shocked and opened their little mouths. My god, that is eldest senior sister. Ah, that in the sect can scare children into not crying at night. The iceberg sword god Luo Li. Ah, she actually voluntarily helps people straighten their clothes? You just entered the sect, don't have a weapon that fits yet, right? Luo Li asked. Master bestowed a Jinghong, middle grade spirit tool. Too poor. Doesn't match you. Luo Li denied it directly. Go. Senior sister will take you down the mountain. Go to Qingyang City to walk around. Go down the mountain? Zhao Ruoan was a bit surprised. Luo Li nodded. Just right, I also want to go out to purchase some things. By the way, pick out a decent meeting gift for you. You just arrived. Senior sister must express something. This. How embarrassing. Nothing embarrassing. Luo Li's tone was firm. It's settled. After she said that, she didn't wait for Zhao Ruoan to respond. Grabbed his hand. The next moment, a flying sword appeared out of thin air, carrying the two of them, turned into a stream of light, rushed into the sky, flying towards the foot of the mountain, leaving only Qiao Yin and Xia Mo in the wind in a mess. Qiao Yin sister, I didn't see it wrong, right? Eldest senior sister, she took little senior uncle's hand and flew away. You didn't see it wrong, Qiao Yin murmured. And, I seem to also see eldest senior sister's face is red. The wind whistled past his ears. This was Zhao Ruoan's first experience of flying on a sword. The flying sword under his feet was wide and heavy. A layer of light cyan gas mask circled around the sword body, completely isolating the fierce wind. The speed was ridiculously fast. The mountains and rivers on the ground all turned into blurry color blocks. His wrist was still being grabbed by Luo Li. Senior sister's strength is really not small. Zhao Ruoan was a bit uncomfortable. He, a big man, being pulled like this by a girl, always felt weird, but Luo Li was calm, as if this was normal. He also couldn't break free, could only let her pull, pretending to look at the scenery. Ahead, the silhouette of an incomparably magnificent giant city appeared on the horizon. The city walls soared into the clouds, like a black giant dragon crawling. Just looking from afar gave people a suffocating oppressive feeling. That is Qingyang City, the largest marketplace at the foot of our Azure Profound Sect. Luo Li's voice sounded in his ear. As the distance approached, the densely packed pavilions in the city, and the endless flow of people, all became clear. Just as the flying sword was about to enter the space above the city, those who come, stop. In Qingyang City, flying is forbidden. Several loud shouts came from below. Following closely, 7 or 8 figures wearing black iron armor rushed into the sky, holding long halberds, blocking the way of the two. The leader, a big man with sideburns, cultivation at the middle foundation establishment stage, aggressive, which junior, doesn't know the rules, don't know the prohibition of Qingyang City? Luo Li's flying sword stopped. She frowned slightly, seeming a bit displeased. That big man with sideburns originally wanted to continue scolding, but when he saw Luo Li's cold and beautiful face clearly, his whole person stiffened instantly. Luo's senior sister. The fierceness on his face vanished completely. Thump. This foundation establishment level city guarding commander actually directly knelt on one knee in midair. Qingyang Guard Commander, Wang Mang, pays respects to Luo's senior sister. He knelt. The group of aggressive city guarding troops behind him all followed and scrambled to kneel in a row. Pays respects to Luo's senior sister. In the voice, there was full of panic. Get up. Luo Li's tone was very plain. Yes, yes. Wang Mang stood up tremblingly. His head hung lower. This is my little junior brother, Zhao Ruoan. Luo Li turned to the side, introducing Zhao Ruoan who was behind her to them, the personal disciple newly accepted by Master. Wang Mang heard this. Heart shook tremendously. Qinghan Peak Master, that legendary existence, accepted a disciple again, and still the only male disciple he didn't dare to neglect, hurriedly bowed towards Zhao Ruoan. Wang Mang meets Zhao's senior uncle. The city guarding troops behind him also followed and bowed in unison. Meet Zhao's senior uncle. Zhao Ruoan's cultivation was clearly only in the body refining realm, but this group of brawny men at the foundation establishment stage, however, each one was respectful as if meeting their own elders. Gentlemen, no need to be polite. Zhao Ruoan waved his hand gently. He finally truly realized what is called relying on the big tree to keep cool. The name of this immortal emperor master is simply better than anything else. Let's go down. Luo Li put away the flying sword, carrying Zhao Ruoan, landed slowly at the city gate. The originally crowded crowd at the city gate, after seeing Wang Mang bringing a group of city guarding troops, respectful to the two young people, had long automatically given way to a spacious passage. Everyone was sizing up this pair of immortal couple like man and woman, with curious and awe-inspiring gazes. My god, isn't that Fairy Luoli of Qinghan Peak? She actually came down the mountain. Who is the man beside her? So handsome. Luo Fairy never gets close to any men. Just now Commander Wang and the others seem to call him Zhao Senior Uncle. Could it be the disciple newly accepted by Qinghan Peak Master? Hiss. Doesn't that mean he is Luo Fairy's only junior brother? What junior brother? I think it's almost the same as a lover. Didn't you see they flew down together from the sword just now? I'm sour. My iceberg goddess, just like that, was arched by a boy who didn't know where he came from. Whispering sounds spread in the crowd. Luo Li's cultivation was what? These discussions naturally fell into her ears word for word. Buzz. A cold sword intent spread out with her as the center. The temperature around seemed to have dropped several degrees. Those passers-by who were whispering only felt a stream of cold air rushing from the soles of their feet to the spirit of the sky. The whole body stiffened, and never dared to say another word, fleeing like birds and beasts. The street corner that was just bustling with noise instantly became cold and clear. Senior sister, what's wrong? Zhao Rowan asked with some confusion. Nothing, Luo Li replied coldly, but a blush appeared on her face. Some flies. Too noisy. She finished speaking, and walked forward. Zhao Rowan followed behind her, watching her slightly hurried back. He felt a bit funny in his heart. This high and cold senior sister seems a bit cute. The two passed through several bustling streets, and finally stopped in front of a magnificent 9-story pavilion. 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce. Zhao Rowan looked up at the plaque. The 4 characters written with dragon and snake contained an extraordinary aura. Let's go. Go in and pick you a decent weapon, Luo Li said. Senior sister, no need. Master already bestowed a spirit tool. Enough to use. Zhao Rowan hurriedly declined. He felt like he had been taking things for free since going up the mountain, feeling a bit sorry in his heart. What master bestowed is master's. What I give is what I give. Not the same. Luo Li's tone was not open to discussion. You are the only man in Qinghan Peak. Also my first junior brother. This meeting gift. Must have. Besides, if I go back empty-handed, and master finds out, she will nag me again for being stingy. Since she had said so, Zhao Rowan was not good at refusing again. Then, many thanks, senior sister. The two walked into the 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce side by side. The first floor hall of the Chamber of Commerce. The space is huge. People coming and going. Lively. On rows of neat shelves, filled with various pills, talismans, magic treasures, and cultivation materials. Look, this chasing wind sword, lower grade Xian tool, actually only needs 800 low-grade spirit stones. This bottle of gathering chi pill is also not bad. Can save me half a month of bitter cultivation. The cultivators in the hall, mostly are body refining and foundation establishment realm. Each one looking at the merchandise on the shelves, revealed longing expressions. In their eyes, a Xian tool can already be considered a rare treasure. However, Luo Li only glanced at it, and withdrew her gaze. All broken copper and rotten iron. She led Zhao Rowan straight through the hall, and walked towards the stairs leading to the second floor. Zhao Rowan's Jinghong sword on his body was a middle-grade spirit tool bestowed by master. Naturally, he wouldn't fancy these Xian tools. The two's calm and composed attitude, treating Xian tools as nothing, compared with the surrounding people, who were arguing until their faces were red for a lower-grade Xian tool, formed a sharp contrast. Many people noticed them, revealing expressions of envy and shame on their faces. Is this the confidence of the core disciples of the top sect? Luo Li led Zhao Rowan, directly ignoring the managers of the first and second floors, all the way up, until they stepped on the stairs leading to the third floor. Only then did a middle-aged manager wearing a brocade robe and a steady aura walk up to meet them quickly. Luo Fairy came personally. I failed to welcome you. The middle-aged manager's face was full of smiles. The attitude was respectful to the extreme. I brought junior brother to pick a weapon. Luo Li was concise. Understood. The middle-aged manager grasped it instantly, and hurriedly led the way in front. Fairy and this young master, please follow me. Only those above the third floor are the fine goods of our 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce. The layout of the third floor was completely different from downstairs. The entire floor was empty and elegant. Only on the surrounding walls hung a few shining magic treasures. Each one emitted an extraordinary aura. The manager in brocade robe led the way in front, putting his posture extremely low. His waist almost bent to 90 degrees. Luo Fairy, this way please. His forehead was sweating fine beads of sweat, and he didn't even dare to breathe loud. This auntie is the top VIP of 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce, and even more synonymous with the killing god of the Azure Profound Sect. If she was neglected, his position as manager would be at the end. Xia Hui. Luo Li stopped, her voice cold. Here. The manager named Xia Hui gave a start, hurriedly answered. This junior brother of mine, Zhao Rowan. Luo Li pointed to Zhao Rowan beside her. Personal disciple newly accepted by master. Xia Hui's body froze. Master? Luo Fairy's master. Isn't that the legendary existence of Qinghan Peak? That person who hasn't accepted a disciple for over 100 years. The true needle of the pillars of the Azure Profound Sect. Now, not only accepted a disciple, but also a male disciple. Xia Hui's brain buzzed. He quickly adjusted his expression towards Zhao Rowan, bowed and performed a more solemn ceremony ceremony than to Luo Li. Xia Hui meets Zhao's senior uncle. Manager Xia is polite. Zhao Ruoan replied gently. Xia Hui didn't dare to get up, still maintained a bowing posture, his attitude humble to the bone. Pick a meeting gift for my junior brother. Luo Li's voice came. The best. Understood. Understood. Xia Hui nodded repeatedly, straightened up, his face full of enthusiastic smiles. Don't know Zhao's senior uncle. What is the current cultivation realm? So that Xia can tailor the most suitable treasure for you. Peak of body refining. Luo Li said casually. Xia Hui's smile stiffened again. Body refining realm? He heard wrong. A cultivator in the body refining realm was accepted as a personal disciple by that immortal emperor-level existence as an exception. This can no longer be described by the word genius. This is simply a monster. A monster. The shock in Xia Hui's heart, raging like the sea, he instantly figured out the key points. This Zhao's senior uncle must carry some heaven-defying talent or physique that cannot be imagined, so he could be favored by that existence. The future is limitless. This is absolutely a super thigh that needs all-out effort to befriend. Cultivation technique and weapons are not needed, Luo Li added. Xia Hui grasped it instantly. Cultivation technique. With that immortal emperor master, what kind of cultivation technique cannot compare to her personal guidance? Weapon. Luo Fairy herself is an expert in sword path. The weapon she prepared for junior brother. How can their chamber of commerce compare? Then, the remaining choices are not many. Defense, or auxiliary magic treasures. For a low-level genius, survival is the first priority. The thoughts in Xia Hui's head flew, and he instantly had an idea. Luo Fairy, Zhao's senior uncle, please follow me. He led the two to a secret room in the depths of the third floor, respectfully pushed open the door. In the center of the secret room, on the jade platform, lay a moon-white robe quietly. The fabric of the robe is as thin as a cicada's wing, flowing with water-like luster under the light, embroidered with complicated and profound runes with silver thread, faintly visible. This robe is named Ice Mark. It is woven by a master refiner using the silk of a 10,000-year ice spider, supplemented by more than a dozen precious materials. Over 3 years, Xia Hui's tone carried a sense of pride. It is itself an upper-grade spirit tool, inscribed with triple diamond talisman on the robe, 1 God Speed talisman, and 1 Dust Avoiding talisman. Wearing this robe can withstand the full strike of a spirit sea realm expert without damage. In critical moments, it can even trigger the God Speed talisman, doubling the speed used for escaping. Most importantly, it doesn't need much spiritual energy to trigger, just right for Zhao's senior uncle's current realm. This introduction can be called custom-made for Zhao Ruoan. Attack and defense integrated. Can also run away. Simply a god-level gear for the novice village. Zhao Ruoan listened until he was a bit moved. Luo Li went forward, reached out and touched that robe. Her fingertips felt the cold and smooth touch. She nodded. Not bad. How many spirit stones? Xia Hui stretched out 5 fingers. This robe is worth 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. However, since it is needed by Zhao's senior uncle, Xia will take the initiative. Give you a discount. 40,000 low-grade spirit stones will do. 40,000? Zhao Ruoan gasped. However, Luo Li was too lazy to bargain. She took out a bag from her storage ring, and threw it to Xia Hui. Count it. Xia Hui's divine sense scanned. The bag was neither more nor less. Exactly 50,000 pieces of low-grade spirit stones arranged neatly. Fairy, this, more. It's tea money for you. Luo Li's tone was plain. Xia Hui's hand trembled. Such boldness. Such a show of wealth. He was so excited that his face turned red. He bowed deeply again towards Luo Li and Zhao Ruoan. Many thanks, Luo Fairy. Many thanks, Zhao senior uncle. In the future, should you two have any requests, just send a message. Xia will surely handle it perfectly for you. Luo Li ignored him, picked up the ice mark robe, and handed it to Zhao Ruoan. Put it on and try it. Zhao Ruoan held the robe, which felt cold to the touch, and walked into the changing room nearby. A moment later, he walked out. The moon-white robe worn on him set off his already tall and straight figure, making it even more slender, and his handsome face gained an extra touch of refined temperament. His whole person seemed to be glowing. Luo Li's movements paused for a moment. Xia Hui stared with wide eyes, secretly praising in his heart. What a handsome young gentleman of the world. The appearance of this Zhao senior uncle is truly too top tier. It fits very well. Luo Li's voice showed a subtle fluctuation. She moved her gaze away, looking elsewhere. Many thanks, senior sister, Zhao Ruoan said sincerely. He secretly made a resolution in his heart. Master and senior sisters are so kind to him. He cannot just keep accepting. Wait until there is a chance in the future. He must repay them well. He also needs to, for them, prepare a unique gift. Just at the moment this thought arose in him, a blue light screen that only he could see popped up before his eyes. Ding! Detected that the host has developed a heart of gratitude, triggering an exclusive task. A token of affection. Task description. A drop of water in need shall be returned with a spring of grace. As the only man of Qinghan Peak, it is time to show your responsibility as the little junior brother. Please prepare an exclusive gift for your master and 3 senior sisters respectively. Task requirements. The gifts must be handmade by the host, with sincerity as the priority. Task reward. Comprehensive evaluation based on the final satisfaction of the master and senior sisters. The higher the satisfaction, the richer the reward. Newcomer benefit. Considering the host's boosts current limited abilities. A choice of 1 out of 3 professional insight cards is provided to give you a helping hand. Option 1. Master Blacksmith Insight Card. After use, can obtain the lifetime experience and insights of a Master Blacksmith. Option 2. Master Alchemist Insight Card. After use, can obtain the lifetime experience and insights of a Master Alchemist. Option 3. Master Spirit Chef Insight Card. After use, can obtain the lifetime experience and insights of a Master Spirit Chef. Zhao Ruoan was stunned. This system even has mind reading. He just had a thought, and the task was arranged immediately. However, this task, he likes it. Handmade gifts, huh? Zhao Ruoan looked at the 3 options in front of him, and fell into contemplation. Blacksmithing, can forge unique magic treasures for master and senior sisters. Alchemy, can refine pills that improve cultivation, or pills for eternal youth. Fairies should all like these. Spirit Chef, use ingredients containing spiritual energy to make delicious dishes. Seems not bad either. Which one should I choose? Zhao Ruoan bowed solemnly to Luo Li again. Many thanks, senior sister. On Luo Li's cold face, the line seemed to soften a bit. She simply responded, and turned away. Xia Hui on the side had been smiling all along, his eyeballs rolling around, now hurriedly leaned over. He held a card made of secret silver, engraved with complex cloud patterns, with both hands, and respectfully handed it to Zhao Ruoan. Zhao senior uncle, this is a small token of our 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce. Please do accept it. Before Zhao Ruoan could speak, Luo Li first glanced at the card. 9 Mysteries silver card. Her tone was a bit surprised. This thing cannot be bought with spirit stones. Luo Li explained, holding this card. In all branches of the 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce spread throughout the Tsang province, you can enjoy a 20% discount on any purchase. Some rare items not sold to the public are also only open to cardholders. Xia Hui's waist bent even lower, his face full of brilliant smiles. Luo Fairy has a good eye. This silver card, in the entire Azure Profound Sect, besides a few peak masters and supreme elders, only you and the Sect master possess it. The implication is, the gold content of this card far exceeds the discount it represents. It is a symbol of status. Zhao Ruoan understood instantly. This gift was not given to him, but given to Qinghan Peak, given to Master Yun Qinghan. Xia Hui is investing in advance, using a priceless silver card to form a bond of kindness. Then many thanks, Manager Xia. Zhao Ruoan did not refuse, reached out and took the thin but heavy silver card. Should be, Zhao senior uncle, you are too polite. Xia Hui's voice was trembling a bit with excitement. Leaving the 9 Mysteries Chamber of Commerce, the two once again rose on their swords, turning into a stream of light, flying in the direction of the Azure Profound Sect. External things are ultimately external things. Do not get addicted to them, and delay your cultivation. Luo Li's voice came in the wind, still cold, but carrying some concern. The road of cultivation. The foundation is the root. Junior brother understands. Zhao Ruoan nodded in agreement. Very quickly, the mist-shrouded Qinghan Peak appeared in front of them. The flying sword landed steadily on the square at the top of the peak. I need to retreat for a few days, to stabilize my realm. Luo Li said only one sentence after landing, and her figure turned into a sword light, disappearing into her own small courtyard, coming and going like the wind, without a bit of hesitation. Zhao Ruoan looked at the direction she disappeared, feeling emotional in his heart. This senior sister's talent is already peak, yet she is still so diligent and self-disciplined. No wonder she has such achievements at such a young age. He should also work hard. Returning to the small courtyard that belonged to him, Zhao Ruoan closed the courtyard gate. He sat cross-legged, and began to look inside himself. Tao Sutra operates automatically every moment, surging spiritual energy like a rushing river, scouring and flowing through his meridians. The bottleneck of the peak of the body refining realm had long been scoured until it was precarious. A strong impulse rose within his body. As long as he was willing, he could now trigger the heaven and earth spiritual energy to pour into his body, and in one go, break through the shackles, stepping into the foundation establishment realm. However, Zhao Ruoan forcibly suppressed this impulse. His eyebrows furrowed slightly. No, too fast. From body refining 3rd level to the current peak of body refining, even counting fully, it was not even a few days. The foundation is not stable enough. The improvement brought by Tao Sutra is too overbearing, but the foundation has not been laid firmly. The higher the building rises, the greater the risk of collapse in the future. What he pursued is not a simple breakthrough, but a perfect foundation establishment. Must hone the flesh and meridians to the extreme of the current realm, without the slightest room for improvement. Only then can he consider the next step. Haste makes waste. This truth, he understood better than anyone. With a thought, Zhao Ruoan began to actively guide the surging spiritual energy in his body, no longer impacting the realm bottleneck, but instead, tempering his muscles and bones over and over again. Flesh and meridians. This is a slow grinding effort, boring and time-consuming, but for the future Tao path, he still had this bit of patience. After completely calming down the restlessness of cultivation, Zhao Ruoan then once again sank his mind into his sea of consciousness, and opened the system panel that had been floating for a long time. Exclusive task, a token of affection, newcomer benefit, choice of 1 out of 3 professional insight cards. Option 1, Master Blacksmith Insight Card. Option 2, Master Alchemist Insight Card. card. Option 3, Master Spirit Chef Insight card. Zhao Ruoan's sight slowly moved over the 3 options, and began to analyze seriously. Alchemy, refine some pills for eternal youth for Master and Senior Sisters, or pills that improve cultivation. They will definitely be happy, but pills are ultimately consumables, finished eating then gone. Spirit Chef, make a delicious meal containing spiritual energy. It is indeed very innovative, but like pills, in the time of a meal, the sincerity is also tasted, cannot be preserved for a long time. His finger finally stopped on the option of Master Blacksmith Insight card. Blacksmithing, create a unique item for them to wear on their bodies for a long time. See the item and think of the person. Whenever they see these small gifts, they can think of the sincerity of their little junior brother. This is the final profundity of a gift, compared to pills and dishes eaten into the stomach. This kind of item that can accompany them for a long time. Its emotional value is completely different. Choose this one. System, I choose the Master Blacksmith Insight card. Zhao Ruoan made the decision in his heart. Ding! Selection successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Master Blacksmith Insight card. Time limited. X1. A card flowing with flame patterns, as if cast by magma, appeared in his system backpack. Zhao Ruoan immediately clicked to view details. Master Blacksmith Insight card. Time limited. Effect. After use, in the next 7 days, the host's comprehension speed of all knowledge related to blacksmithing, techniques, and methods, increases by 1000%. Special bonus. During the card's effective period, every magic treasure forged by the host with his own hands has a 10% chance to trigger the Heavenly Work effect, randomly obtaining an additional special entry. Comprehension increased tenfold, and a chance to trigger special entries. Zhao Ruoan's heart accelerated uncontrollably for a moment. With this card, never mind preparing gifts for Master and Senior Sisters, he felt that if he worked hard, he could even go and take a blacksmith certification, find himself an extra way to make a living. Of course, this was just a joke. The top priority is to find a place and start learning from scratch. He stood up, pushed open the courtyard door, and called to the 2 maids standing outside the courtyard. Qiao Yin, Xia Mo, Zhao Senior Uncle. The 2 pretty maids immediately bowed and saluted. I want to ask you one thing. Zhao Ruoan cleared his throat. Do you know, in the sect, the place dedicated to blacksmithing is on which mountain? Qiao Yin and Xia Mo were stunned upon hearing this. The 2 looked at each other. Both saw the same confusion and incomprehension on the other's face. Blacksmithing? Why would the little young master ask this? Qiao Yin summoned her courage, and asked carefully, Little young master, are you wanting to repair something? Such small things can be left to us. Ah, not repairing. Zhao Ruoan shook his head. I want to learn blacksmithing. The courtyard fell into deathly silence. Qiao Yin and Xia Mo were both stunned. Learn blacksmithing? Isn't that beating iron? Little young master, you want to be a blacksmith? Xia Mo's voice trembled slightly. Qiao Yin's face also turned a bit pale. She tugged at Xia Mo's sleeve, and persuaded softly. Little young master, the path of blacksmithing is broad and profound, extremely consuming of spirit and time. Your talent is in the sword path. Peak master places high hopes on you. If you are distracted by other things, I am afraid that. She didn't finish her words, but the meaning was very clear. You are a seedling sent to a top university. Now you say, you want to go to a vocational school to learn cooking. Who can bear this? I understand what you mean. Zhao Ruoan smiled, comforted them. Rest assured, I won't delay cultivation. I'm just a bit curious. Want to understand more things. Besides, having more than one skill is not a bad thing. However, what about peak master? Qiao Yin was still worried. They saw how much Yun Qinghan valued Zhao Ruoan. If she knew he wasn't practicing hard, but ran off to learn blacksmithing, she would probably be unhappy. This matter has nothing to do with manager Xia. Zhao Ruoan directly took the responsibility onto himself. If master asks, I will take full responsibility. Will never implicate the heavenly fire peak in you. Things had reached this point. If Duan he refused again, it would be being unappreciative. He exhaled a long breath, rebuilding a smile on his face. Since the senior uncle has made up his mind, Duan he will naturally cooperate with all my strength. Someone come, he shouted into the hall. Go, clear out the Gi character smithy in the back mountain. Quick. The order went out, and immediately disciples ran away flying. Zhang Shan on the side heard this and clicked his tongue. Gi character smithy. That is the smithy dedicated to the elders of the peak. The quality of the earth fire is one of the best in the entire heavenly fire peak. Many thanks, Manager Duan. Zhao Ruoan said. Senior uncle is polite. Duan he waved his hand, and ordered again. Additionally, go to the warehouse. Prepare a copy of all basic materials needed for blacksmithing, and send them to the Gi character smithy. Remember, must be the best. And, tell Elder Wang who is on duty. Say little senior uncle Zhao from Qinghan Peak wants to study the path of artifacts in the Gi character room. Let him pay more attention. If the senior uncle has any questions, can go and ask for advice anytime. A series of orders went down. The surrounding disciples were all stunned. This treatment can be called the first time in history. Ordinary disciples finding it hard to see an elder once. But this Zhao senior uncle is good. Directly assigned a dedicated home tutor who can answer questions at any time. This is the face status. Ah, very quickly, everything was arranged properly. quietly. Duan he personally led Zhao Ruoan and the three to a secluded place in the back mountain. An independent courtyard built of obsidian appeared in front of them. The courtyard gate was carved with the two characters E character. Pushing open the heavy stone door, a spacious smithy presented itself. In the center was a huge earth fire furnace, flames rising at the furnace mouth, emitting astonishing heat. Beside it, anvil, forging hammer, quenching pool, bellows and other tools were all available, wiped clean and bright. In the corner, a small mountain of various ores, spirit wood and other basic materials were piled up. The only thing that was a bit of an eyesore was, in the center of the room, the pile of books half a person high. Tsang Province 10,000 Ores Atlas, Spirit Material Identification Introduction, 100 Herb Record, Gold and Stone Chapter, 108 Ways to Control Fire, Basics of Forging and Shaping, Essentials of Rune Inscription. Each one of the thick volumes was stacked together, emitting the fragrance of knowledge. Zhao Ruoan looked at the book mountain. His mouth couldn't help but twitch. Good fellow. He originally thought blacksmithing was just wielding a hammer. Didn't expect the theoretical knowledge in the early stage to be so exaggerated. A bit challenging, huh? He whispered to himself, but didn't have the slightest intention of retreating. With a thought, he opened the system backpack. That card flowing with magma patterns, emitting a scorching aura, was lying quietly inside. Master Blacksmith Insight Card. Time limited. Zhao Ruoan didn't hesitate. System. Use this card. Ding. Master Blacksmith Insight Card. Time limited. Used. Remaining time. 167:59:59. The card turned into a stream of light, instantly disappearing into his brow center. In an instant, Zhao Ruoan felt his brain had been replaced by a heavenly river computer. He picked up that heavy, Tsang Province 10,000 Ores Atlas. The moment his fingers opened the first page, the red copper or pattern drawn on the book page, was no longer a dead object. Its texture, its density, at what kind of earth fire temperature it would melt, what kind of spirit wood powder to fuse with to enhance toughness, what kind of beast bone grinding to enhance spirituality. Countless pieces of information were like a waterfall, directly poured into his mind. He didn't need to read at all, even less need to remember. This knowledge seemed to be born with him. It was his instinct that had been forgotten. So that's how it is. Zhao Ruoan threw the 10,000 Ores Atlas to the side. The entire content of the book had established a complete database in his brain. He casually picked up the second book, 108 Ways to Control Fire. The moment his fingertips touched the cover, 108 complex methods, from the most basic slow fire nourishment to the advanced dragon breath forging, all were deduced by himself in his brain, and the system automatically associated and matched these methods with the ore knowledge just downloaded. Red copper ore. Best to use the 37th spiral flame to melt. Can maximize the preservation of its fire attribute spiritual energy. Black iron stone. Then needs the 72nd oscillation fire to remove impurities. He looked at the mountain of books. Originally felt it was a difficult task. Now it seems, this is just an appetizer. Zhao Ruoan didn't take the books one by one anymore. He walked to the book mountain, stretched out both hands, and directly pressed on the stack of heavy classics. Ding. Detected host actively contacting a large number of knowledge carriers. Master Insight Card effect maximized. Starting data torrent infusion. Boom. Zhao Ruoan's body trembled slightly. Spirit Material Identification Introduction. 100 Herb Record. Gold and Stone Chapter. Basics of Forging and Shaping. Essentials of Rune Inscription. Hundreds of classics content. Turned into the purest stream of knowledge. Crossing the obstacles of text and pictures. Frantically pouring into the depths of his consciousness. He closed his eyes. In his mind, countless ores were melting. Countless spirit materials were combining. Countless runes were flickering. He was like an onlooker, watching a master blacksmith whose experience spanned eternity. In his spiritual world, emptying out his life's learning. Even, this master would also draw inferences from one instance. The Essentials of Rune Inscription recorded. The spirit gathering rune is too basic. If the third and seventh strokes are slightly modified, combined with the starting style of the sharp gold rune, inscribed on a flying sword, sharpness can be increased by 30%, and spiritual energy consumption reduced by 10%. Fool. The Basics of Forging and Shaping recorded. The 1000 forging method is only for apprentices to look at. True forging is to listen to the wailing of metal, feel its pulse. Every hammer drop is a communication. Qinghan Peak, Main Hall. Qiu Yin and Xia Mo stood side by side, kneeling on the cold jade floor, their heads hanging low. Above the main hall, Yun Qinghan sat on the ice crystal throne. She didn't speak, but the air pressure in the entire hall was so low that the two body refining maids felt their bones were all creaking. So, you let him mess around? After a long time, Yun Qinghan finally spoke, her voice without any temperature. Peak Master, please forgive us. Xia Mo's body trembled, hurriedly kowtowed. Little young master, he made up his mind. We couldn't persuade him. married him, Yun Qinghan repeated. The ending sound rose slightly. He is the little young master of Qinghan Peak. You are his maids, but you are even more people of my Qinghan Peak. Have you also forgotten my orders? The disciples dare not. Qiao Yin buried her head even deeper. It is the disciples' failure in supervision. Please punish the Peak Master. Yun Qinghan did not respond immediately. Inside her heart, a nameless fire was rising. She thought she had picked up a peerless divine jade, but the result? This piece of divine jade, instead of being carefully carved into a treasure passed down through generations, actually ran to the construction site next door, enthusiastically learning how to chisel iron. What a waste of heaven-sent things. Peak Master, the little young master said. He is only going for 7 days to understand it, and will absolutely not be addicted. Qiao Yin whispered in defense. 7 days? Yun Qinghan acted as if she had heard some joke. Good, very good. She stood up from her throne, and paced slowly in the main hall. Since he has such elegant interest, if I, as his master, do not fulfill his wish, it would seem that I am unreasonable. Pass on my decree. The disciple is here. Doesn't he want to learn blacksmithing? I will give him this opportunity. Yun Qinghan stopped her pacing. Within 7 days, if he can personally forge a piece of, even the lowest grade qualified spirit tool, this matter shall be dropped. Qiao Yin and Xia Mo suddenly raised their heads, their faces full of astonishment. 7 days, to forge a spirit tool? What kind of joke is this? Those old masters in Heavenly Fire Peak who have dabbled in this path for decades, dare not say they have a 100% success rate. A beginner who cannot even recognize mineral ores. In 7 days, being able to learn fire control would already be heaven-defying talent, let alone forging a spirit tool. This is simply an impossible task. Then, if the little young master fails to complete it? Xia Mo asked stutteringly. If he fails to complete it? Yun Qinghan's mouth hooked into a cold arc. Then his cultivation plan for the next 100 years will all be formulated by me personally for him. Every day except for eating and sleeping, all remaining time, will be used to practice the sword. Also, her gaze landed on the 2 maids. You too. Failure in supervision. Same punishment. From this moment on, go and kneel at the entrance of the cliff of reflection in the back mountain, until he returns from Heavenly Fire Peak. During this period, no one is allowed to visit him, and you are not allowed to step half a step into Heavenly Fire Peak again. Yes, Peak Master. Qiao Yin and Xia Mo's faces turned deathly pale, but they dared not have any objections, and could only accept the order. After the 2 retreated, the main hall returned to silence. The anger on Yun Qinghan's face slowly converged, turning into helplessness. She walked out of the hall, gazing at the direction of Heavenly Fire Peak, where the sky was illuminated crimson-red by the earth fire. Little guy, I hope you don't let me down. The immortal road is long. Talent is only one aspect. State of mind is the root, she whispered to herself, then turned around, and walked into the secret room deep in the main hall. Time flew by. 3 days had passed. Heavenly Fire Peak, inside a heavily guarded earthfire cave dwelling. Bang! A prototype of a furnace that had just taken shape, during the final quenching step, exploded with a bang. Countless fragments mixed with hot sparks scattered in all directions. Failed again. An old man in red robes with bristling hair and a burly figure kicked over the anvil in front of him, cursing in his mouth. Damn it! The heat of this purple gold mysterious sand. How exactly should it be controlled? It was just the last step. Just one step away. This person was the blacksmithing elder of Heavenly Fire Peak, Fu Gao. He had been in closed-door cultivation for 3 months, just to forge a furnace of upper-grade spirit tool level, but he failed 3 times at the final step. The precious materials consumed were enough to make Duan He feel heartbroken for 3 months without sleeping. Just when he was furious, the restrictions outside the cave dwelling were touched. Who is it? Don't you know I am in closed-door cultivation? Get lost! Fu Gao roared irritably. Senior uncle, calm your anger. It is disciple Duan He. Outside the cave dwelling, came the sound of Duan He's signature, slightly sycophantic voice. Fu Gao frowned, and unlocked the restrictions. Duan He scrambled and crawled in. What is it? Are the materials not enough again? I tell you, if you fail again this time, I will stuff you into the furnace to smelt. Fu Gao blew his beard and glared. No, no. Duan He hurriedly waved his hands, wiping the sweat from his forehead. Senior uncle, it is. There is a strange thing. The disciple feels. It is necessary to report to you. Spit it out if you have something to say. It is like this. Duan He organized his language. 3 days ago, little senior uncle Zhao from Qinghan Peak came. He wants to learn blacksmithing, and has already been staying in the E-character smithy for 3 days and 3 nights. He described the matter in its entirety. Fu Gao was indifferent at first. Sword path genius. Learning blacksmithing, playing around, right? But when he heard 3 days and 3 nights, without taking a step out, and the earth fire has not been extinguished, the expression on his face changed. What did you say? Fu Gao grabbed Duan He's collar, and lifted him up. That kid named Zhao Rowan. In the E-character room, staying for 3 days and 3 nights? Yes, senior uncle. Duan He rolled his eyes as he was choked. During this period, Has he ever come out? Has he asked anyone to send food? Has he ever asked Elder Wang for advice? Duan he shook his head with difficulty. No, none at all. The door to that smithy has never been opened. Fu Gao's hand let go. The irritability and impatience on his face gradually were replaced by an emotion called astonishment. A beginner, locking himself in a smithy for 3 days and 3 nights, not eating or drinking, not sleeping or resting. That kid, wouldn't it be that he is inside, becoming obsessed and going crazy? Duan he saw that Fu Gao's face was wrong, and hurriedly added, Senior Uncle. When little Senior Uncle Zhao came, he said, this matter is his own intention. If the Peak Master asks, everything will be borne by him. Will never implicate us. Fu Gao was stunned. This kid actually has quite a sense of responsibility. The fire in his heart dissipated by half. Interesting. Fu Gao stroked his messy beard. Go, let's go take a look. I want to see what exactly this kid is doing inside. He flicked his sleeves and strode out of the cave dwelling. Duan he followed closely behind. The two followed one after another. Very quickly arrived in front of that independent courtyard built of obsidian in the back mountain. The key character room. Fu Gao stood still, listening attentively. Inside it was quiet. Duan he, are you sure the earth fire inside is still burning? Absolutely certain. Senior Uncle, the spiritual energy consumption record of the earth fire array has been rising. It cannot be fake. Duan he swore to heaven. Fu Gao frowned. This is truly strange. Blacksmithing is physical labor, and even more of a technical job. Do you not wield a hammer when melting ores? Do you not knock the anvil when forging and shaping? How could there be no sound at all? Could it be that this kid is really sitting inside for 3 days and 3 nights, just watching without practicing? That would become performance art, wouldn't it? Breaking in directly is not appropriate. Fu Gao pondered. After all, he is the little senior uncle of Qinghan Peak. Face still needs to be given. Duan he's eyes rolled, and leaned over. Senior Uncle, it happens to be lunch time now. Why not? I will let the disciple send some food over. Just say you are concerned about the little senior uncle's hard work in cultivation, specially sent by you. He will have to open the door to accept it, right? Fu Gao gave him an approving look. Your brain finally wasn't clogged by the oil and water of managing affairs. Go do it. Okay. Duan he accepted the order, and ran away quickly to arrange it. Not long after, a handyman disciple carrying an exquisite food box ran over quickly. Elder, Manager Duan, the food is here. Fu Gao nodded, gave a wink to the disciple. Go knock on the door. Yes. The handyman disciple walked to the heavy stone door, just about to raise his hand. Creak. The heavy obsidian door was slowly pushed open from the inside. A figure appeared at the door. Zhao Rowan was wearing a slightly loose disciple uniform. 3 days and 3 nights of not sleeping or resting made his face a bit pale, but those eyes were terrifyingly bright. He was stained with a faint scent of ore and smoke, but was not embarrassed at all. Manager Duan. Zhao Rowan saw the 2 people at the door, a bit surprised. He had just thoroughly mastered the knowledge of all the classics, feeling his brain was a bit swollen, and his stomach was hungry, intending to come out to catch his breath. Didn't expect the door to be so lively. Fu Gao and Duan he were also sizing him up from head to toe, except for looking a bit tired. Not a single hair of this kid was missing. Fu Gao's heart that was hanging in the air finally returned to his stomach. Good that you are fine. Zhao Senior Uncle, you finally came out. Duan he hurriedly greeted him, his face full of concern. This is what Elder Fu specifically ordered. Sent to you for lunch. You have worked hard in cultivation. Must not exhaust your body. Troubled Elder Fu and Manager Duan to worry. Zhao Rowan took the food box, his attitude gentle. Fu Gao stood with his hands behind his back, and said carelessly, Boy, 3 days. How do you feel? Those books, have you read them all? When he asked this, he actually already had a default answer. That mountain of books half a person high. Don't talk about 3 days. Even if you finished reading them in 3 months, it would be considered heaven-defying talent. Zhao Rowan nodded. Read them all. The two exchanged an unbelievable expression. Bragging, right? Cough. Fu Gao gave a dry cough. Then, have you encountered any problems? For example, which ore's characteristics are hard to understand, or which fire control method you don't understand? This is the question he cares about most. A beginner, having many questions is normal. Not afraid of you asking, just afraid of you not asking. If not asking, it means you haven't even found the door, and don't know what to ask at all. Duan he also pricked up his ears on the side. In his view, this little senior uncle must have a pile of questions. When the time comes, Elder Fu will give 2 pointers, which will both give face, and also let this little ancestor retreat despite difficulties, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, Zhao Rowan's answer again made the 2 petrified on the spot. Problems? Zhao Rowan thought seriously, then shook his head. Many thanks for the elder's concern. Currently have not encountered any problems. Theoretical knowledge. The disciple has already memorized it all. Have nothing that I don't understand. The smiles on Fu Gao and Duan He's faces stiffened. A 15-year-old boy, 3 days' time, read through over 100 basic blacksmithing classics, then said that he didn't encounter any problems. The 2 looked at each other, and instantly read the same meaning from the other's expression. Finished. This child is wasted. He didn't understand it at all. The last bit of expectation for a genius in Fu Gao's heart was completely shattered. He even looked at Zhao Rowan with some sympathy. This child is a genius in the sword path, but in blacksmithing, I am afraid he hasn't even even mastered the basics. Forget it, forget it. No one is perfect. Let him hit a wall. No, the height of the sky and the depth of the earth is better than aiming too high in the future and delaying the righteous path. Thinking of this, the heavy stone in Fu Gao's heart finally fell to the ground. Very good. Fu Gao held back for a long time, squeezed 2 words out of his teeth. The tone carried a perfunctory, as long as you are happy. Duan he also echoed with a fake smile on the side. Yes, yes, senior uncle has heaven-defying talent. We ordinary people cannot catch up. Zhao Ruoan naturally detected the subtle change in the two's attitudes, but he didn't point it out. He knew, saying more is not as practical as doing it once. Many thanks for your concern. You too. Zhao Ruoan carried the food box, sidestepped and left the door. The disciple plans to eat lunch, then start the furnace and try it. Theory is ultimately theory. Must start working to know the depths. Fu Gao heard this, and became a bit interested. Oh, still want to try? Okay, then let you feel it for yourself. What is called from introduction to giving up? Duan he had the same thought. He wished Zhao Ruoan would fail immediately, and end this farce quickly. Just when the two thought Zhao Ruoan was going to see off the guests, the next words of Zhao Ruoan, however, made them both stunned again. Elder Fu. Zhao Ruoan bowed to Fu Gao. The disciple is a beginner. Although I have read the classics, but actual operation is after all the first time. I am afraid there will be many mistakes and omissions. Don't know if I can ask the elder to stay for a while, to give guidance on the side. If the disciple has any negligence in the forging process, I hope the elder will not hesitate to teach me. Fu Gao's hand stroking his beard stopped in midair. According to normal routine, this kind of spoiled genius, shouldn't they all be closing their doors to make carts, and not turning back after hitting the southern wall, finally rolling away in disgrace? Why still take the initiative to ask for advice? And the attitude is so humble and sincere, without a bit of arrogance. This, Fu Gao didn't know how to respond for a moment. He originally prepared a stomach full of regretful words, now all blocked in his throat. If it is inconvenient for the elder, the disciple will not disturb you. Zhao Ruoan saw him not responding, thought the other party was unwilling, and was about to close the door. Wait, Fu Gao blurted out. His bit of curiosity was hooked up. Cough. Since you are sincere in asking for advice, I have nothing to do today, so I will stay and watch. Fu Gao found a step for himself. I want to see what exactly you have understood in these 3 days. Duan he nodded desperately on the side, full of excitement about watching the fun and not taking it seriously. Zhao Ruoan turned sideways, and invited the two into the smithy. This E-character room was specially prepared for inner disciples with a certain foundation in the heavenly fire peak. The space is spacious. Various basic tools are all available. Fu Gao and Duan he walked in, originally thought they would see a messy dog's nest. The result, the room was in perfect order. That pile of books had already been neatly stacked in the corner. The floor was clean, except for a futon and a low table. There was nothing else. Zhao Ruoan walked to the low table, opened the food box, and ate his lunch quietly. Fu Gao and Duan he looked at each other. Their evaluation in their hearts changed a bit again. Ordinary teenagers, not sleeping or resting for 3 days, would have long been impetuous. This kid could still calm down and eat. This concentration doesn't look like a 15-year-old boy. A quarter of an hour later, Zhao Ruoan finished his lunch, packed the food box and put it at the door. He walked to in front of Fu Gao, bowed again. The disciple is ready to start. Fu Gao folded his arms. What do you plan to forge? You can't want to forge a spirit tool right away, right? In his view, a beginner can successfully melt a piece of iron ore. Already count as an introduction. Zhao Ruoan shook his head. The disciple is a beginner. Dare not aim too high. Just plan to forge the most ordinary lower-grade Xian-grade short sword, to get familiar with the process. This answer made Fu Gao's tense face ease a little. Still okay. Have self-knowledge. Know how much weight I have. Not misled by those theoretical knowledge. This state of mind is not bad. Then go pick your materials. Fu Gao pointed to the pile of materials piled in the corner. Those are specially for disciples to practice with. All are the most basic ores and auxiliary materials. Zhao Ruoan walked to the material pile. Without half a hesitation, he bent down, picked up 3 black ores the size of a fist from them, picked up another piece of dark red metal the size of a palm, finally picked out a piece of gray wood. He put the materials on the forging table, and said to Fu Gao, Elder, the disciple chooses 100-year black iron ore as the main material, star-patterned copper as auxiliary material, using earth-fire rock powder as the melting catalyst. The sword handle uses the most basic fire birch wood. The expression on Fu Gao's face froze. Duan he also opened his mouth, but made no sound, because these few items Zhao Ruoan chose were exactly the most classic for forging lower-grade Xian-grade short swords. The safest formula, without a single error. A beginner can pick out the correct combination from over 100 basic materials accurately at one time. This explains his 3 days really were not in a daze. He really memorized all those hundreds of books. You start. Fu Gao felt his throat a bit dry. Zhao Ruoan nodded. He walked to the earthfire forging furnace, took a deep breath. Immediately, he stretched out his right hand, palm pressed on the spiritual energy input array pattern of the furnace wall. Buzz! A strand of spiritual energy injected. The earthfire mouth at the bottom of the furnace suddenly shot up a cluster of orange-red fire flames. Fu Gao instinctively instinctively tensed his body. Fire control is the first step of blacksmithing, also the most important step. The control of the heat determines the purity of the material melting, directly related to the grade of the finished product. The most common mistake of beginners is that spiritual energy output is unstable, causing the flame to be sometimes large and sometimes small, either burning the ore, or directly burning the material to waste. However, the flames under Zhao Ruoan's palm were incomparably stable. The temperature of the orange-red fire flames climbed slowly under a kind of extremely exquisite control. This stability of fire control. Duan He beside Fu Gao couldn't help but whisper. Fu Gao didn't speak. All his mind was concentrated on that cluster of flames. Too stable unlike a beginner. Zhao Ruoan didn't pay attention to the astonishment of the bystanders. He concentrated fully, feeling the temperature change inside the furnace. When the temperature reached a critical point, he grabbed a piece of 100-year black iron ore. Without hesitation, threw it into the furnace. Sizzle. The ore contacted the fierce fire, issued a light sound. The surface of the black ore soon was burned bright red. Zhao Ruoan was not in a hurry to raise the temperature, but maintained a constant firepower, preheating and calcining the ore. Strands of black impurities were forced out from the ore, turning into green smoke, floating out from the furnace mouth. This process lasted for a full incense stick of time. Fu Gao's eyelids jumped wildly. Good patience. Ordinary disciples, in order to pursue speed, often skip this step, directly using fierce fire to melt, resulting in a large amount of impurities remaining in the spirit liquid. This kid actually is willing to spend time doing the most boring, and also the most basic impurity removal. An incense stick later, the volume of the black iron ore shrunk by nearly 30%. The color became purer. Zhao Ruoan then slowly increased the spiritual energy output. The flames in the furnace turned from orange-red to crimson. The temperature soared. That calcined black iron ore, almost in an instant, turned into a pool of bright red molten iron, flowing quietly at the bottom of the furnace. The surface of the molten iron was smooth as a mirror, without a single trace of impurity bubble. Perfect. Fu Gao's heart jumped heavily. From fire control to calcining and then to melting, every step can be called textbook level. Cannot pick out a single point of error. This damn thing is a beginner who is smithing for the first time. Cheating ghost. Just when Fu Gao was still shocked by this perfect melting method, the next action of Zhao Ruoan made him completely silly. Zhao Ruoan didn't pour out the molten iron according to the conventional flow, but directly grabbed another piece of material, star-patterned copper, then threw it in. Holy crap. This time, even Fu Gao couldn't help but burst into a curse. Duan He was so scared that he shuddered, almost fell to the ground. What is he doing? Is he crazy? 100-year black iron ore and star-patterned copper are two completely different metals. Their melting points are different. Spiritual natures clash, throwing them into the furnace together to burn. This is not equal to pouring ice cubes into boiling water. Lightly, the two materials will contaminate each other. All scrapped. Heavily, spiritual nature clashes. Directly explodes the furnace. Quick stop. Boy, do you want to demolish this place? Fu Gao instinctively wanted to come forward to stop it, but just as he took a step, he was nailed to the spot, because he saw an unbelievable scene. In the furnace, Zhao Ruoan's spiritual energy actually divided into two. One strand of spiritual energy formed a vortex, wrapping that pool of molten iron, maintaining its temperature and form. Another strand of more delicate spiritual energy turned into an invisible net, supporting the star-patterned copper just thrown in. In mid-air, using another cluster of flames with a different temperature, conducting independent calcination and melting. What kind of god-level operation is this? Fu Gao's beard was trembling. This delicate and fine spiritual energy control, never mind a beginner, even he himself, would need to concentrate fully, consume a large amount of spiritual energy to barely do it, and the success rate still wouldn't be guaranteed. This kid, is he still human? Duan He felt his worldview was being repeatedly rubbed on the ground. Next, a scene that made him doubt life happened. While Zhao Ruoan was melting two kinds of metals at the same time, actually had spare energy, he pinched a magic technique with his left hand, used a clever force on that earthfire rock powder, evenly sprinkled it into the molten iron that was rolling below. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The molten iron boiled violently. The last trace of deep-hidden impurities was also thoroughly excited, turning into wisp of green smoke. The whole process was like flowing water. 3 kinds of materials, 2 kinds of temperatures, multi-line operation, synchronous processing, just half an hour. In the blacksmithing furnace, a pool of bright red molten iron and a pool of dark gold molten copper, distinct as clear water, suspended separately, all reached the most perfect, purest spirit liquid state. Gulp. Fu Gao swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He looked at that standing before the furnace, concentrated, face slightly pale boy. His brain only had one thought left. This kid is simply a genius. 2 perfectly purified spirit liquids, suspended separately in the blacksmithing furnace, emitting pure luster. Next, is the most crucial step, fusion. 100-year black iron ore is fierce. Star-patterned copper is soft. The 2 melting points are different. Spiritual natures clash. The result of forced fusion is only one. Explode. However, Zhao Ruoan's next action once again refreshed the cognition of the two. He was not in a hurry to mix the 2 spirit liquids, but controlled that strand of spiritual energy wrapping the star-patterned copper liquid. Slowly, slowly, injecting it into the black iron spirit liquid below with a strange spiral trajectory, not pouring, but injecting. Sizzle. The moment the two spirit liquids contacted, did not occur the expected intense reaction. The dark golden copper liquid, like a dexterous swimming dragon, drilled into the crimson molten iron. Not only was it not excluded, but began to interweave at a speed visible to the naked eye. Crimson and dark gold, two distinct colored spirit liquids, began to penetrate each other, rotate, stretch, forming a gorgeous Taiji circulation diagram. Fu Gao's Adam's apple rolled up and down. He understood. Zhao Ruoan was not forcibly fusing, but guiding. He used that spiritual energy control of his that was abnormal to the extreme, forcibly smoothed out the spiritual nature conflict between the two materials, and found a perfect balance point, letting them take the initiative to accept each other. This is no longer blacksmithing technique. This is art. Duan he had already given up thinking. Everything happening before his eyes completely exceeded his pitiful reserve of blacksmithing knowledge. A quarter of an hour later, the rotation in the furnace slowly stopped. The two spirit liquids that were originally distinct, at this moment had thoroughly merged into one, forming a pool of mixed spirit liquid with peculiar color. It appeared as a deep dark red as a whole, but when flowing in the light, it would also emit streaks of flowing gorgeous golden patterns. Open furnace. Take liquid. Shape. Fu Gao recited the next steps in his heart. He wanted to see how Zhao Ruoan would handle this final step. But Zhao Ruoan didn't follow the routine at all. His left hand was still pressed on the furnace wall to maintain the temperature, but his right hand was vaguely leading towards the furnace mouth. Buzz. That pool of perfect mixed spirit liquid actually was supported by an invisible big hand, turning into a fire dragon, flying out from the furnace mouth, hovering steadily in mid-air, directly using spiritual energy to control the object and shape. Even the shaping table and forging hammer were not needed. But this way of playing is too cross-boundary, right? The spirit liquid hovering in mid-air, under Zhao Ruoan's spiritual energy control, began to stretch slowly, deform, sword tip, sword edge, sword spine, sword guard. A prototype of a short sword was depicted bit by bit in the air. Zhao Ruoan's focus was to the extreme. Fine beads of sweat oozed from his forehead. For him, this was also an ultimate challenge. He deliberately slowed down the cooling speed of the spirit liquid, using spiritual energy to finely polish every detail of the sword body. Even at the handle position, he also drew dense anti-slip patterns. The whole process, quietly scary. In the room, only the crackling sound of the furnace fire gradually extinguishing, and three uneven breathing sounds. Fu Gao and Duan He, unmoving. They were afraid that if the sound of their breathing was loud, they would disturb this scene that was like a miracle. Finally, when the last wisp of fire faded from the sword body, clang, a crisp light sound. A short sword with an ancient style fell from mid-air, inserted precisely into the card slot of the forging table. Sword body deep red, full of natural flowing golden patterns. A restrained aura of sharpness rushed towards him. Done. Zhao Ruoan breathed a long sigh of relief. His face was a bit pale. Obviously spiritual energy consumption was not small. He looked at his first work. Satisfied, Fu Gao rushed over in one stride. He leaned close, staring fixedly at that short sword. Sword body smooth, naturally formed. Those flowing golden patterns were not decorations at all, but the spiritual nature of star-patterned copper perfectly fused with black iron ore, forming natural spirit patterns. Middle grade, Xian grade spirit tool. Fu Gao's voice trembled. This damn thing is a middle grade Xian grade spirit tool. Duan he shuddered on the side. Middle grade Xian grade spirit tool, using a pile of the most street-rotten 100-year black iron ore and star-patterned copper. Is this reasonable? This is not reasonable, but the facts are right before their eyes. That sharp spiritual energy fluctuation can't be fake. Fu Gao stretched out his finger, flicked it lightly on the sword body. Buzz. A clear sword chirping echoed in the room. Good sword. Who? Fu Gao withdrew his hand, looking at Zhao Ruoan's expression. Complex to the extreme. First time blacksmithing. Technique is a bit raw. Let the elder laugh. Zhao Ruoan wiped the sweat, said modestly. He was reviewing in his heart. Actually, at the last moment when the sword body cooled and solidified, he had every opportunity to inscribe a sharp gold talisman on the sword spine, but the success rate was not high. He was afraid of messing up, so he chose the safest final step. If that talisman was added, this sword, impacting an upper-grade Xian-grade spirit tool, maybe there was a possibility. Pity. Fu Gao heard this sentence, almost spurted out an old blood. Raw? You call this raw? Cough, cough. His old face turned red, forcibly squeezed out a smile. Zhao senior uncle. You are too humble. Speak without fear of your laughter. Even if I personally took a move, using this batch of materials, able to forge this quality, already counts as supernormal play. Duan he beside listened. His heart rolled his eyes. Forget it, elder. Still supernormal play. You old man can forge a lower grade Xian grade spirit tool with this pile of rubbish without exploding the furnace. awareness. Already count as the ancestor showing spirit. This slap to the face, slap, slap, sounded. Zhao Ruoan didn't hear the irony and shock in Fu Gao's words, still thought it was encouragement and tapping of the elder. He arched his hands earnestly. Elder is overly praised. The disciple feels there are still many deficiencies in spiritual energy utilization. Wasted quite a lot. By the way, elder, Zhao Ruoan seemed to remember something. Continued to ask. The disciple next time plans to try, while condensing the artifact, synchronously perform rune inscription. Don't know in control. What are the tricks that need attention? Air. Deadly silence. The smile on Fu Gao's face completely stiffened. Duan he felt his knees soften, almost knelt down. Murder must also punish the heart. Fu Gao opened his mouth. Not a word came out. He looked at the boy in front of him who was sincerely asking for advice. Only a blank space left in his brain. Monster. This damn thing simply is not human. Zhao Ruoan didn't wait for an answer. Instead, felt a sense of emptiness coming from his body. That extreme operation just now seemed like flowing water. In fact, it had squeezed his spiritual energy to the limit. He looked inside. The spiritual energy in the Dantian already bottomed out. Less than 1/5 left. The disciple's spiritual energy is not enough. I am afraid I cannot continue, Zhao Ruoan said with some regret. Hearing this, Fu Gao and Duan he finally regained a bit of realism. Right, this is normal. Blacksmithing is originally a work that consumes extreme spirit and spiritual energy, especially this kind of high-precision operation. Spiritual energy consumption is multiplied. This kid's cultivation is only at body refining, able to support the completion of a middle-grade Xian-grade spirit tool forging. Already a miracle. Fu Gao exhaled a long breath of turbid air. He walked to Zhao Ruoan's side, patting his shoulder with a complex expression. Zhao senior uncle, you call this raw? I have been blacksmithing for 200 years. Never seen anyone like you. This. He spent half a day this ang, but couldn't find a suitable word to describe it. Genius. The word genius, at this moment, appears so pale and powerless. With body refining realm cultivation, first time opening the furnace, using a pile of rubbish, forging a perfect quality middle-grade Xian-grade spirit tool. Zhao senior uncle, if you are raw, then the disciples of the heavenly fire peak, one by one, can all find a block of tofu and bump into it to die. Duan he beside listened, his mouth twitching wildly. Elder, when you scold people, can you not drag me along? Although I am also a piece of trash, but being pointed out so bluntly, my mentality will really collapse. Zhao Ruoan didn't hear the self-mockery and shock in Fu Gao's words, still thought it was encouragement and tapping of the elder. He arched his hands earnestly. Elder is overly praised. The disciple does feel there are still many deficiencies. If the spiritual energy was more surging, perhaps I could do better. By the way, elder, Fu Gao just wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Zhao Ruoan again. The disciple has a goal. Still want to ask the elder to correct me. You say. Fu Gao's attitude had changed from the initial scrutiny to the current equal dialogue, even with a hint of seeking advice. Zhao Ruoan thought as he said, the disciple studies blacksmithing, mainly for master and 3 senior sisters. Personally forge a few suitable magic treasures. Ordinary Xian-grade spirit tools are afraid they won't enter their eyes. So the disciple thought, at the very least, I must also forge an upper-grade spirit tool. If I can impact the artifact grade, then it would be even better. Air once again fell into deadly silence. Fu Gao, who had just barely regained his breath, felt he was about to suffocate again. Duan he rolled his eyes, simply gave up thinking. He felt his brain today might not be enough to use. Upper spirit tool, impact, artifact grade, a kid at the body refining realm, boastfully saying here that he wants to forge spirit tools and artifacts. Fu Gao felt his worldview being hit by a heavy hammer, repeatedly, already shattered into a QR code. He took a deep breath, striving to maintain the composure of an elder, reminding in as euphemistic a tone as possible. Zhao senior uncle, your talent, in my lifetime, I have only seen this one, but the matter of blacksmithing, ultimately cannot bypass a fundamental problem. Cultivation, forging spirit tools. The materials used are all spirit things nurtured by heaven and earth. Their texture hardness, spiritual nature stubbornness, far from what ordinary iron ore can compare. Wanting to melt them, has extremely harsh requirements for the quality and quantity of spiritual energy. With your current body refining realm cultivation, spiritual energy reserves, I'm afraid you can't even melt a small piece of the most basic spirit grade ore. This is no longer a technique problem. This is a hardware problem. However, after Zhao Ruoan finished listening, revealed an expression of, so it turns out to be like this. He nodded, then said in an understated tone, cultivation, this is not difficult. The disciple feels, the cultivation in my body can't be suppressed for a long time. Just wanted to lay the foundation firmer. If necessary, wanting to break through, can be done at any time. Boom. The last sentence, like a 9-heaven divine thunder, struck directly on the crowns of Fu Gao and Duan He's heads. The two stood petrified on the spot, completely fossilized. Want, breakthrough, at any time, can be done. Is this human language? For 99% of cultivators in the world, cultivation breakthrough is a major event related to life and death. Need to fast and bathe, prepare pills, find people to protect the law, retreat for months or even years, experience thousands of hardships, 9 deaths and 1 life. Only then possible to succeed. When it reached you, you. How come it's as simple as eating and drinking? Still can't suppress it? Is there such a good thing in this world? Fu Gao looked at Zhao Ruoan's handsome and innocent face, suddenly felt his 200 years really lived to be eaten by dogs. Zhao Ruoan didn't care about the two's dullness, planning for himself. So the disciple plans. First, use the remaining few days, practice the blacksmithing methods of these basic materials, to be incomparably proficient. Wait until all processes are clear in my mind. Then start to break through cultivation. After cultivation is enough, then start the furnace to forge gifts for master and senior sisters. This way is only stable. A series of words spoken clearly, plan well considered, heard in Fu Gao's ears, but made him have goosebumps all over. A monster with abnormal blacksmithing talent, at the same time, also has a cultivation cheat that can upgrade as he pleases. This is not leaving anyone away to live. Ah, a thought suddenly surged from the bottom of Fu Gao's heart, and grew crazily. Opportunity. For him, this is a great opportunity. He is stuck at the bottleneck of a 6th grade blacksmith for a full 50 years, wanting to break through to the 7th grade. What is lacking is no longer proficiency, but an enlightenment, an inspiration to break conventions and find another path. And the boy in front of him who doesn't play by the rules, his magic level spiritual energy control, his imaginative blacksmithing line of thinking, isn't it the inspiration he has been dreaming of? Observing his blacksmithing is better than closing his doors to build a cart for 100 years. Thinking of this, the bit of arrogance and reserve in Fu Gao's heart, instantly thrown to the 9 heavens, he hard-heartedly squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. The tone was unprecedentedly amiable. Cough. Zhao senior uncle, your idea is very good. Steady and steady is the great Tao. How about this? The next few days, I also have nothing to do. Just stay here. Personally protect the law for you. If you have any difficulties with artifact refining, I can also guide you at any time. After saying that, his old face flushed red. Guidance? He didn't even have the face to say the word guidance anymore. Calling it a sparring partner? No, it would be more accurate to call it stealing skills. Zhao Ruoan was overjoyed upon hearing this. To have a 6th rank artifact refining master provide full, personal guidance, is something one couldn't even ask for. Then many thanks, Elder Fu. He hurriedly bowed and saluted, his attitude extremely sincere. Easily done, easily done. Fu Gao waved his hands repeatedly, his heart brimming with joy. To the side, Duan He, looking at the harmonious scene between the old man and the young man, retreated silently to the corner. He felt that, between himself and this world, a thick barrier had already formed. Duan He bowed to Zhao Ruoan, his face piled with an enthusiastic smile. Junior Uncle Zhao, look, in the way of artifact refining, the consumption of materials is also a major expense. You just go ahead and do it. Whatever materials you need, just speak to this disciple. The warehouse of Tianhua Peak. If nothing else, these basic ores are in ample supply. Just kidding. Such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How could he possibly miss it? Although his talent was lacking, and stealing skills was out of the question, but getting familiar, and serving hand and foot, one could always get some benefits. In the future, when this young junior uncle becomes a grandmaster of artifact refining, the return on this investment today would be simply incalculable. Zhao Ruoan didn't expect that even the material problem had been solved. His heart settled. Then I will trouble you, senior brother Duan. No trouble, no trouble. Serving the junior uncle is my honor. Duan He patted his chest to ensure. Thus, a bizarre study group was established just like that. One pretending to give guidance, actually stealing skills. One serving tea and pouring water, doubling as logistics, and surrounded in the middle. Zhao Ruoan was the only one kept in the dark. A good student who only wanted to study well. Zhao Ruoan sat cross-legged, and began to regulate his breath. That previous operation had indeed drained all the spiritual power in his body, but as soon as he operated the Great Tao Sutra, the situation changed. The surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy, like a cat that smelled fish, surged frantically into his body. The sea of spiritual power in his dantian, which had been parched, began to refill. At a speed visible to the naked eye, Fu Gao and Duan He were still exchanging glances, sending signals of, you understand. The next moment, both of them felt the abnormal surging of the surrounding spiritual energy. Their movements froze, and they looked at Zhao Ruoan in unison. This is recovering spiritual power? Is this recovery speed a bit outrageous? Even if one took the top-tier recovery pills, it wouldn't be this fierce. In less than the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn. Zhao Ruoan opened his eyes, and stood up. His entire spirit and energy had returned to their peak state. He stretched his limbs, feeling his spiritual power full, even a bit purer. Then before refining the artifact, Elder, this disciple is ready. I want to try again. Again? Are you a perpetual motion machine? Fu Gao spoke with difficulty. Junior Uncle Zhao, the way of artifact refining requires a balance of work and rest. No need to rush. He was mainly afraid his heart couldn't take it. Zhao Ruoan, however, shook his head seriously. This disciple feels that the hand is just getting warm, striking while the iron is hot. The effect might be even better. After saying that, he didn't wait for Fu Gao to persuade him further, and walked straight to the refining furnace. This time, he didn't hesitate at all. Spiritual power urged. Furnace fire reignited. Materials input. Perfect purification. The two spiritual liquids intersected in the furnace, spiraling in, taiji circulating. The entire process process, compared to the first time, was more than twice as smooth. Fu Gao and Duan He on the sidelines were already numb. If the first time was a miracle, then the second time was rubbing that miracle on the ground. Zhao Ruoan's spiritual power control this time was more refined, more economical. The fusion step that originally took half a quarter of an hour to complete, this time, took less than half the time. Buzz. The mixed spiritual liquid was lifted by spiritual power, hovering in the air. Zhao Ruoan did not mold it into the shape of a short sword again this time. His mind moved. The spiritual liquid began to stretch, extend, finally transforming into a slender flying knife. The blade was thin, the lines flowing, filled with a lethal aesthetic. When the flying knife solidified and took shape, falling into the card slot, the sound it made, compared to the previous short sword, was even more crisp. Fu Gao leaned over to look. His pupils contracted again. On the blade of the flying knife, besides those natural flowing gold patterns, there was actually an extra shallow, feather-like rune. This is a light feather rune. Fu Gao's voice sounded dry. This is a basic rune that can slightly increase flying speed and agility. Although simple, it means that, in his second attempt at refining, Zhao Ruoan had already started trying to engrave runes while molding the artifact. And he had succeeded. It was still a middle-grade profound artifact, but the quality was even a notch higher than the previous short sword. Fu Gao reached the conclusion. He looked at Zhao Ruoan again, and found that this kid's face was only slightly pale after refining this time. Apparently there was still plenty of spiritual power left. The first time, exhausted spiritual power, refined a middle-grade profound artifact. The second time, saved half the time, refined a higher quality middle-grade profound artifact, and even effortlessly carved a rune, with spiritual power still remaining. What kind of terrifying progress speed is this? Fu Gao felt his view on artifact refining had been completely overturned, and then stepped underfoot, crushed into powder. A thought grew crazily in his heart. He could no longer hold back. Such a peerless genius, if only allowed to practice swordsmanship, is simply a waste of talent, a crime against the entire artifact refining world. Night fell. Zhao Ruoan stopped after completing 2 artifact refinements. He didn't continue, but sat on the side, closing his eyes to review. The second fusion was still a bit rushed, causing the spiritual essence inside the liquid to be not stable enough. When engraving the rune, it almost failed. The output of spiritual power was also not smooth enough, wasting about 10%. Next time one can try. He summarized his experience there, searching for deficiencies, while on the other side, Fu Gao and Duan He were left speechless in the courtyard. The night wind blew, carrying a hint of chill. For a long time, Fu Gao finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Duan He, what do you think of this junior Uncle Zhao? Duan He smiled bitterly. Elder, aren't you asking what you already know? What can I think? I can only look up to him. I'm not talking about that. Fu Gao shook his head. He paced 2 steps, stopping under an old tree in the courtyard. I mean, don't you think that a talent like him, staying at Qinghan Peak, only practicing the sword Dao, is a waste? Duan He's heart skipped a beat. He heard the meaning in Fu Gao's words. A chill surged from his soul straight to his crown. Elder, you wouldn't be thinking of. Fu Gao turned around. In the dim light, his expression was unprecedentedly serious. I want to keep him on our Tianhua Peak. Once those words were out, Duan He shivered. Elder, have you lost your mind? He lowered his voice, almost roaring in a whisper. That is Qinghan Peak, the only personal disciple of ancestor Yun. You go to poach her corner. Who in the entire Qingxian sect doesn't know that Yun Qinghan's protectiveness is famous? Fu Gao, however, sneered. Women's view. You only saw Yun Qinghan's strength, but didn't see the value a top-tier artifact refiner can represent. A martial artist, even if they reach the ultimate, is just one person becoming strong. But a grandmaster of artifact refining, he can arm an entire sect, can influence the direction of a war. His connections, his status, are far beyond that of a pure martial artist. Junior Uncle Zhao has peerless talent in swordsmanship. I don't deny that, but his talent in artifact refining is 1 in 10,000, is a talent that can establish a sect, and become an ancestor of a generation. Comparing the two, which is light and which is heavy, it is clear at a glance. Fu Gao became more excited as he spoke. As long as he is willing to focus on staying at Tianhua Peak, I, Fu Gao, am willing to exhaust everything to cultivate him. All resources of Tianhua Peak will tilt towards him. Within 100 years, my Qingxian sect will definitely give birth to a 9th-rank artifact refining saint. By then, the status of my Tianhua Peak will not necessarily be below Qinghan Peak. Duan He listened with heart-palpitating fear, cold sweat streaming down. He admitted that what Fu Gao said made a lot of sense, but logic is logic, and reality is reality. Elder, everything you say is right. Duan He swallowed with difficulty, but the problem is, Junior Uncle Zhao's sword talent. It's not just not bad either. That is also 1 in 10,000. 5th-rank sword intent. 14 or 15-year-old 5th-rank sword intent. Have you forgotten? A monster cultivating both paths. And both paths have talents that crush all beings. Why must you force him to give up one path? Duan He felt Fu Gao's thinking was simply obsessive. Cultivating 2 paths. There have been many people throughout history, but how many can reach the peak? Fu Gao remained unmoved. He was determined in his own logic. Human energy is ultimately limited. Trying to do too much leads to nothing done well. The sword path. The killing intent content is too heavy, damaging to the temperament. The road ahead is full of difficulties, but the artifact refining path is the grand and righteous way. The further one goes, the more respected the status, receiving the admiration of 10,000 people. Which is better or worse? Need I say more? Duan he was completely speechless. He found that he couldn't persuade this old man who had lost his head at all. In your eyes, as an artifact refiner, sword cultivators aren't good things, right? If Ancestor Yun heard this, I'm afraid she would flatten the entire Tianhua Peak with one sword. Elder, please calm down. This matter should be discussed at length. Discussed at length. Duan he could only persuade Drilly, his heart already starting to plan whether to find an opportunity to go to Qinghan Peak to report. The argument in the courtyard did not reach the artifact refining room. Zhao Ruoan knew nothing about the brainstorming of the two old men outside. He sat cross-legged at this moment. His mind sunk into his dantian. After 2 artifact refinements, although the spiritual power in his body had recovered, he had a new realization. Cultivation is indeed hardware. The quality and quantity of spiritual power in the body refining realm are both too low. Just like using a small water pipe to irrigate a large orchard. Not only is efficiency low, but the water pipe itself is prone to burst. If you want to control those high-grade materials as you please, without massive spiritual power as support, everything is empty talk. It's time. Zhao Ruoan adjusted his breathing. The great Tao Sutra in his body operated automatically. That barrier of the realm that had long been loose and unbearable, under the sense of his mind, made a faint cracking sound. He didn't rush to break through in one go, but chose a most secure and most luxurious way. Water grinding effort. He used spiritual power to impact the barrier again and again, not to smash it, but to polish it, familiarize with it, and master it. Days passed one by one. Fu Gao and Duan he also didn't leave, guarding in the courtyard. Fu Gao was determined to wait for Zhao Ruoan to come out, to move with affection, reason with logic, and trick him to Tianhua Peak. Duan he was too scared to leave, fearing that the elder would be impulsive, and do something irreversible. The two stared at each other, from the initial argument, to the later speechless silence. The atmosphere was awkward to the extreme. On the 5th day, late at night, in the artifact refining room, the environment of spiritual energy, which had been calm, suddenly changed. A suction force many times greater than when recovering spiritual power before, emanated from Zhao Ruoan's body. The heaven and earth spiritual energy within a radius of several miles, turned into streams of white air visible to the naked eye, like 100 rivers returning to the sea, surging wildly into the small artifact refining room. Fu Gao and Duan he were startled by the movement, standing up in unison. This is going to break through, Fu Gao muttered to himself. Before his voice fell, that suction force retracted suddenly, as if a person who had eaten enough, let out a satisfied burp. Everything returned to calm. Inside the room, Zhao Ruoan slowly opened his eyes. A pure ray of spiritual light flashed past his body, gathering spirit realm. Early stage, done. He could feel the sea of spiritual power in his dantian had expanded more than 10 times. The condensation degree of spiritual power even had a qualitative leap. If his spiritual power before was mist, then now, it was a flowing stream. This step was taken extremely firmly, extremely solidly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the gathering spirit realm. Unlocking the realm gift package. Detected that the host achieved the first autonomous breakthrough achievement. Gained a rare title choice of 3. The system panel unfolded in front of his eyes. Zhao Ruoan first looked at the 3 titles. Title 1. Child of Destiny. Special luck type. Effect. Wearing this title, the host's luck will be greatly improved. It's easy to pick up treasures when going out. Adventure probability increases. Danger warning ability improves. It's easier to gain favor with others. In short, you are the most handsome baby of heaven. Title 2. Ingenuity. Special skill type. Effect. Wearing this title, the host's success rate in artifact refining, alchemy, talisman making, formation, and other arts operations increases by 30%. The probability of producing perfect quality increases by 10%. Title 3. Sword Dao Genius. Special insight type. Effect. Wearing this title, the host's speed of comprehending sword Dao and learning sword techniques increases by 50%. 3 titles, each emitting alluring light. Zhao Ruoan analyzed them one by one. The second, Ingenuity, looks beautiful, but for him, it's a bit of a chicken rib. What he lacks in artifact refining now is not success rate and quality, but the hardware of cultivation. Once the cultivation goes up, with his techniques, refining perfect quality is a basic operation. The bonus of this title is not very meaningful. The third, Sword Dao Genius, is also very strong, but his sword talent starts at the 5th rank Sword Intent. Plus there is a big killer like the Transcendent Insight card. Comprehension speed is not a problem at all. Only the first one, Child of Destiny. This title is filled with a sense of metaphysics. Luck is something that cannot be seen, cannot be touched, yet it truly affects every aspect of a cultivator. Some people have mediocre talent, but always meet mentors, pick up secret manuals, and finally achieve a great career. Some people have supreme talent, but get struck by lightning when going out, choke on water when drinking, and suffer a lifetime of twists and turns. This is the difference in luck. For a transmigrator who is determined to develop steadily, what is more important than becoming heaven's baby? This is simply the officially certified protagonist halo. I choose the first one. X1, Child of Destiny. Zhao Ruoan made the decision. Ding. Title Child of Destiny is worn. Wishing you good luck and continuous adventures. A strange warmth spread throughout his body, as if being gently hugged by something. Feeling very comfortable, Zhao Ruoan nodded with satisfaction, then turned his attention to the Golden Shining Realm gift package. Open. Ding. Congratulations to the host for receiving the following rewards. Transcendent Insight Card X1. Heaven Tier Low-Grade Cultivation Technique. Twin Spirit Formula X1. 1000-Mile Escape Talisman X1. Middle Grade Spirit Stones X50. 000. Looking at the reward list, Zhao Ruoan's heart skipped a beat. This time's rewards were too generous. Transcendent Insight Card. An old friend. Many uses. 50,000 middle grade spirit stones. For him now, is a huge fortune. Enough for him to squander for a long time. 1000-Mile Escape Talisman. A one-time life-saving trump card. After crushing it, one can teleport to any place within 1,000 miles, saving his life at a critical moment. And what made his heart move the most was that Heaven Tier Cultivation Technique. Twin Spirit Formula. He hurriedly checked the introduction of the technique. Twin Spirit Formula. Heaven Tier Low-Grade Special Cultivation Technique. Cultivating this method, one can condense a second spiritual power core in the body. When performing any spiritual power attack, there is a certain probability to trigger the resonance of the second spiritual power core, launching an identical attack, and without extra consumption. After the technique reaches great success, the trigger probability is 100%. Zhao Ruoan gasped. 100% trigger? Isn't this buy one get one free? Double the happiness? Any spiritual power attack becomes doubled back. The overbearingness of this technique, and the degree of being unreasonable, is simply outrageous. Heaven Tier technique. Horrifying indeed. This breakthrough, not only did his strength skyrocket, but he also harvested so many supreme treasures. His foundation instantly became solid. This wave is a perfect start. He put everything into the system space, calmed down his excited mood. The night passed without words. The next day, when Zhao Ruoan walked out of the artifact refining room doors, spirited, he saw two figures in the courtyard with dark circles under their eyes, looking haggard. Fu Gao and Duan He. Elder, senior brother Duan. Morning. Zhao Ruoan bowed. Morning, morning, junior uncle Zhao. Fu Gao's voice was hoarse. He looked Zhao Ruoan up and down. Not seen for one night, this kid not only had no signs of fatigue, but was instead in high spirits. His breath restrained and long. This state is wrong. Fu Gao's heart skipped a beat. Probing. Junior uncle, your breath. Could it be? Zhao Ruoan smiled gently. I had some insights last night. Luckily broke through. Fu Gao only felt a boom in his brain. You call this luck? From body refining realm to gathering spirit realm, is a threshold that requires months, or even years of seclusion, consuming countless pills and resources for many cultivators to cross. You refined artifacts here for 2 days, went back to sleep, and broke through with some insights? Duan He, on the side, was already completely numb, not even having the strength to complain. Just then, footsteps came from outside the courtyard. Elder Fu, we are here. Before the person arrived, the voice preceded. Duan He looked up. His legs went soft on the spot. There was more than one person coming. Leading was a middle-aged man with a slightly fat build, and a kind face. Exactly the hall master of the Tianhua Peak Artifact Refining Hall. Lu Shi. Following behind him, were the two oldest elders of the Artifact Refining Hall, Bai Ming and Lu Xing. These three, if they stomped their feet, the entire artifact refining world of Tianhua Peak would shake 3 times. Fu Gao hurriedly went up to meet them. Hall Master Lu, Elder Bai, Elder Lu, the 3 of you honored us with your presence. I failed to welcome you in time. Lu Shi laughed and waved his hands, coming straight to the point. Elder Fu, you sent word last night, saying you discovered a once-in-10,000-year artifact refining genius. The few of us old guys were very curious, so we came uninvited, wanting to see for ourselves. His words, although polite, meant clearly, we are here to inspect the goods. Don't blow your horn too big. Elder Bai Ming's temperament was more direct, saying straight away, 3 days to get started, refining a middle-grade profound artifact. This matter is too unbelievable. I have refined artifacts for 300 years. Never heard of it. Elder Lu Xing also nodded. Hearsay is false. Seeing is believing. The attitude of the 3 was very clear. They didn't believe it. Fu Gao was not angry, but instead, with confidence, stepped aside, pointing at Zhao Ruoan. 3. This is the Zhao Ruoan from Qinghan Peak, that I mentioned to you. Junior Uncle Zhao. He then introduced to Zhao Ruoan. Junior Uncle. These 3 are the hall master and elders of my Tianhua Peak Artifact Refining Hall. Zhao Ruoan greeted them one by one, neither humble nor arrogant. Lu Shi and the others sized Zhao Ruoan up. Seeing he was so young, the suspicion in their hearts increased by 3 parts. Fu Gao saw their thoughts, did not explain much, but threw out a blockbuster message. By the way, I forgot to tell you 3 one thing. Junior Uncle Zhao just last night, successfully broke through. Now he is a cultivator of the gathering spirit realm. As soon as this was said, the smile on Lu Shi's face froze. Bai Ming and Lu Xing looked at each other, and saw shock in each other's reaction. The day before yesterday was body refining realm. Today it's gathering spirit realm. This is simply joking. Lu Shi solemnly bowed to Zhao Ruoan. Junior Uncle Zhao, I wonder if it's convenient. Let us observe your artifact refining process once. Naturally, I also happen to want to familiarize familiarize myself with the hand feel again. Zhao Ruan gladly agreed. Everyone entered the artifact refining room. Zhao Ruan was not shy, walking straight to the refining furnace. This time, he didn't use those rare materials again, but picked a few from the pile of basic ores Duan he prepared. All were the most common first-rank spirit ores. Junior Uncle Zhao is going to. Lu Shi was a bit puzzled. Fu Gao lowered his voice. The pride in his tone was hard to hide. Just watch. Zhao Ruan urged his spiritual power. Furnace fire rose. Different from the previous 2 times. This time, the spiritual power in his body was a stream, not a water pipe. The massive spiritual power, injected into the refining furnace. The furnace fire's temperature and stability reached a brand new height. Input ores, smelting, purification, the entire process. The impurities in the ores were precisely separated, turning into green smoke and dissipating. Groups of pure spiritual liquid hovered in the furnace, emitting a soft halo. The breathing of Lu Shi and the others unconsciously stopped. They were all experts. Just looking at this purification technique and the quality of the spiritual liquid, they knew Zhao Ruan's level. Perfect. Perfect without any flaws. Next is fusion. Zhao Ruan's divine sense moved slightly. Several groups of spiritual liquids with different attributes started to rotate according to a specific trajectory, intersecting, without any repulsion or conflict. They were like long-lost brothers, naturally embracing each other. Elder Bai Ming's hands had already started to tremble. He asked himself, using the same materials, he couldn't do it so smoothly, so perfectly. This is not a beginner. This is the control only a grandmaster would have. Fusion completed, reaching the most critical stage of molding. Everyone thought Zhao Ruan would be like before, molding it into the prototype of a weapon. But Zhao Ruan's actions made all the artifact refining masters present collectively gasp. He didn't rush to let the spiritual liquid solidify, but used divine sense as a pen, and spiritual power as ink. On that semi-solid spiritual liquid, started to outline, molding and engraving. Lu Shi whispered in surprise, hurriedly covering his mouth with his hand, fearing to disturb Zhao Ruan. This is one of the highest level techniques in artifact refining. Engraving the rune the moment the object takes shape, letting the rune and the object itself integrate perfectly, becoming one. This technique, the grasp of timing, the control of spiritual power, requirements all reached the extreme. The slightest carelessness, and the internal structure of the spiritual liquid would collapse. The whole furnace of materials, destroyed. Among the people present, except for Fu Gao who occasionally could succeed once or twice, others didn't even have the qualification to try. But now, a teenager who has been in contact with artifact refining for less than 5 days, is performing this divine skill in front of them, calm and composed. Time, at this moment seemed to slow down. Everyone held their breath, staring at Zhao Ruan's movements. I saw complicated patterns, appearing on the spiritual liquid, finally constituting a complete ice rune. The moment the rune took shape, Zhao Ruan pressed with his divine sense. Buzz. The spiritual liquid solidified completely, transforming into a simple, honest long sword. On the sword body, the blue rune flickered with faint light. A cold and stern chill instantly permeated the entire artifact refining room. The long sword fell, steadily inserting into the card slot. Done. The entire artifact refining room was silent. For a long time, Lu Shi trembled and walked up, carefully picking up that long sword. The sword was in his hand. A cold spiritual power came along his arm, making his spirit jump. He carefully distinguished the patterns and aura on the sword body, the expression on his face, from shock to ecstasy, finally turning into a blank. Upper grade profound artifact. No, that's not right. This spiritual power boost, this compatibility of the rune, this is peak. It's a peak upper grade profound artifact infinitely close to a Dharma treasure. Bai Ming and Lu Xing also rushed up, one on each side, caressing the sword body, as if seeing some peerless treasure. Heaven bless my Tianhua peak. Heaven bless my Tianhua peak. Elder Bai Ming burst into tears. Fu Gao stood to the side, his back straight, his face triumphant. See that? This is the talent I discovered. Are you convinced? He cleared his throat, walking to Zhao Ruan's front, his attitude unprecedentedly sincere. Junior Uncle Zhao, I, Tianhua Peak Elder Fu Gao, officially invite you to join my Tianhua Peak. As long as you nod, all artifact refining classics of Tianhua Peak are yours to browse. All warehouse materials are yours to take. Lu Shi also reacted, hurriedly adding, not only that, I guarantee as the hall master of the artifact refining hall, that I can immediately report to the sect master, to exceptionally confer you the position of guest elder of Tianhua Peak, with status equal to us. For a moment, everyone looked at Zhao Ruan with burning expressions, waiting for his answer. Zhao Ruan was a bit stunned. He looked at this group of suddenly extremely enthusiastic elders and hall masters. A question mark slowly appeared in his heart. After all this is not a teaching demonstration. This is a recruitment event on the spot. Want me to leave Qinghan Peak, leave my immortal emperor master, and 3 peerless and beautiful senior sisters? Are you all crazy? The good intentions of several seniors. This junior accepts. Zhao Ruan bowed deeply to everyone. It's just that. This junior is a disciple of Qinghan Peak. A master for one day is a father for life. Master treats me with great kindness. I have absolutely no possibility of changing gates. His voice was gentle, but his attitude was firm. Just kidding. Letting go of the immortal emperor master's thigh to hold, and going to play with fire with a bunch of old men? My brain is not flooded. The enthusiasm on Lu Shi's face faded slightly, but he didn't give up. Junior Uncle Zhao takes it too seriously. We are not asking you to betray the sect. Guest elder, identity is free. You are still a disciple of Qinghan Peak, just hanging a name on my Tianhua Peak. To facilitate matters, think about it. The Qinghan Peak lineage is specialized in sword Dao, in artifact refining. It's ultimately an outsider. If you want to go further on this path, Tianhua Peak is your best choice. Fu Gao also helped on the side. Yes, junior uncle, the artifact refining inheritance of our Tianhua Peak is the foundation of the Qingxian sect, with profound heritage, not comparable to those few isolated copies of Qinghan Peak. You stay here. Only then can we provide you with the best resources, and the best guidance. Several elders said one sentence after another, spitting flying. The core idea was only one. Stay. Zhao Ruan listened to their persuasion. His heart was as clear as a mirror. He bowed again, his face showing apology. I understand the mood of several seniors, but this matter is too big, not something I can decide alone. My master is cold in temperament, doesn't like strangers disturbing. Without master's permission, this junior dares not agree presumptuously. He directly raised this trump card of Yun Qinghan. Sure enough, the moment the three words Yun Qinghan were mentioned, the temperature of the entire artifact refining room seemed to drop by several degrees. The enthusiasm on Lu Shi and the others' faces, extinguished by more than half instantly. Fu Gao opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but finally held it back. Just kidding. Robbing a disciple from Yun Qinghan. That's openly going against Qinghan Peak. That master is a ruthless person who even dares to ignore the sect master's face. If they really tricked Zhao Ruan to Tianhua Peak, the next day Yun Qinghan might come over with a sword, asking if their Tianhua Peak's mountain top is too sharp, and if it needs help in flattening it. Cough. What junior uncle Zhao said is right. This matter does indeed need ancestor Yun to decide. Lu Shi laughed dryly to smooth things over. It's us who were abrupt. The atmosphere was a bit awkward for a moment. Zhao Ruan, seeing this, took the initiative to break the deadlock. It just so happens that all seniors are here today. This disciple wants to refine another furnace. To consolidate my hand feel, I hope several seniors can give me guidance. As soon as he mentioned this, the attention of everyone was immediately diverted. Good. We will observe. We definitely won't disturb you. Lu Shi nodded hurriedly. Being able to see such immortal-like artifact refining is also a kind of enjoyment. Zhao Ruan said no more, turning to walk back to that pile of materials. The previous refining gave him a deeper understanding of artifact refining. Upper-grade profound artifact ultimately is still in the scope of mortal iron. Now that he is in the gathering spirit realm, the quality of spiritual power is not what it used to be. Perhaps he can try refining a real spiritual tool. His eyes swept, and he picked a few pieces of the best-looking ones from the pile of first-rank spirit ores. Then, he looked to the other side, at the few second-rank materials Duan he prepared. A piece of second-rank cold iron ore that was pitch black and emitted a chill. A piece of second-rank green pattern steel that was full of green patterns and hard in texture. And a piece of second-rank wind flow stone that was translucent and seemed to have air currents surging inside. Fu Gao looked at the materials he chose, somewhat puzzled. Junior uncle, what are you doing? Zhao Ruan put the three second-rank spirit materials beside the refining furnace, and said calmly, what was refined before were all profound artifacts, ultimately lacking a bit. Today, fortunately, I broke through. Spiritual power is much more abundant. I want to try if I can refine a real spiritual tool. After the words fell, the entire artifact refining room was dead silent. Lu Shi, Bai Ming, Lu Xing, Fu Gao, the four people looked like they were frozen, their expressions stiff on their faces. Duan he was even weaker in his feet, almost failing to stand steady. Refining a spiritual tool? Are you serious? From profound artifact to spiritual tool, that is a chasm. How many artifact refiners spend their entire lives stuck at this step, only able to be blacksmiths for a lifetime, unable to enter the hall of a true artifact refining master? You are now telling us you want to refine a spiritual tool? How is this different from an infant who just learned to walk, saying he is going to participate in the 100-meter sprint competition? Junior uncle, you are not joking, right? Elder Bai Ming's voice was trembling. Just trying it out, Zhao Ruan answered lightly. He didn't think there was anything about it. In his view, artifact refining is like cooking. The ingredient level is higher. The heat and technique naturally also need to improve. There is no difference in essence. Looking at Zhao Ruan's serious expression, Lu Shi and the others looked at each other, seeing extreme shock in each other's reactions. Crazy. This world. It must be FNG crazy. Zhao Ruan no longer ignored them. His mind completely immersed in artifact refining. He urged the spiritual power stream in his dantian. This time, he didn't hold back at all. The gathering spirit realm spiritual power, massive and pure. After being injected into the refining furnace, the furnace fire soared instantly, the color changing from bright red to pure green, emitting an amazing high temperature. Green flame fire. He was actually able to urge green flame fire? Elder Lu Xing whispered in surprise. This is a high-grade furnace fire that only cultivators in the late stage of gathering spirit realm can barely generate, having special effects on smelting high-grade materials. Zhao Ruan did it casually. He put the hardest piece of second-rank green pattern steel into the furnace. Under the burning beginning of the green flame fire. The hard ore started to turn red, but there was no sign of melting at all. The difficulty of smelting second-rank materials, indeed, was far from what first rank can compare. Zhao Ruoan was not in a hurry. His divine sense explored into the furnace, precisely controlling every strand of green flame, letting that amazing heat, finely, and evenly infiltrate every inch of the ore's texture. Time, at this moment became abnormally slow. Outside the furnace, Lu Shi and the others forgot even how to breathe, staring fixedly at the furnace fire. Finally, under their nervous gaze, the edges of that stubborn green-patterned steel began to soften, eventually turning unwillingly into a pool of slowly flowing cyan liquid. Purification. Zhao Ruoan exerted his divine sense, and those black spots representing impurities in the spiritual liquid were forcibly stripped away by an invisible yet domineering power, transforming into wisps of black smoke that dissipated from the furnace mouth. The entire process did not have the slightest bit of hesitation. Elder Bai Ming's palms were already soaked. He was calculating rapidly in his heart. If it were him to purify this piece of green-patterned steel, the time would at least double, and the purity would definitely not reach the crystal-clear level of this young man before him. This kid, his control over spiritual power, had reached an appalling level of micromanipulation. Next were the cold iron ore and windflow stone. Zhao Ruoan followed the same procedure, smelting them one by one, and purifying them. Soon, 3 masses of spiritual liquid with vastly different attributes, yet all pure to the extreme, were quietly hovering inside the refining furnace, distinct from each other, yet faintly repelling one another. Fusion. This is the most critical, and most dangerous step in refining a spiritual tool. Forcibly fusing spiritual materials with different attributes is extremely prone to violent repulsion. Lightly, it results in the destruction of materials. Heavily, it causes the furnace to explode on the spot, leading to death and the dissipation of one's soul. Everyone's heart was in their throat. Seeing Zhao Ruoan's divine sense move slightly, the 3 masses of spiritual liquid began to slowly approach. Just as they were about to touch, Zhao Ruoan formed seals with both hands, and streams of profound technique formulas were cast into the furnace. This is ancient spirit fusion technique, Fu Gao exclaimed out loud, his beard even twitching upward. This is an ancient method that has long been lost, capable of neutralizing conflicts between materials to the maximum extent. He had only seen it recorded in an isolated, damaged scroll, never expecting to see it performed live today. Guided by the spirit fusion technique, the 3 masses of spiritual liquid were like young swallows returning to their nest, without any repulsion, perfectly intersecting, and merging together. A mass of mixed spiritual liquid the size of a fist, shimmering with cyan, black, and white halos, was thus formed. Succeeded. The hardest step. He actually succeeded on the first attempt. Lu Shi and the others felt as if their hearts were about to jump out of their throats. However, Zhao Ruoan's movements did not stop. Shaping, engraving, he repeated his old tricks, using his divine sense as a blade. On that mass of spiritual liquid about to solidify, he quickly began to outline. This time, what he engraved was no longer a single rune, but a composite rune combined from 3 basic runes: sharp metal, armor-piercing, and lightness. Buzz. The moment the final stroke fell, the entire refining furnace let out a violent hum, and a brilliant golden light shot into the sky, illuminating the entire refining room as bright as day. A long sword with a sleek design, and a slender body, slowly rose from the furnace. On the sword body, complicated golden runes flowed unceasingly, emitting an invincible and sharp aura, continuously outputting spiritual power and divine sense at high intensity. Even Zhao Ruoan felt a wave of exhaustion, his face slightly pale. He beckoned with his hand, and the long sword let out a crisp sword chime, falling steadily into his hand. Done. In the refining room, one could hear a pin drop. Lu Shi and the others, like wooden statues and clay figures, did not move at all. For a long time, Fu Gao walked up tremblingly, asking in a hoarse voice, "Junior uncle, what grade is this?" Zhao Ruoan handed the sword over. "This disciple has poor discernment. I ask the seniors to appraise it." Lu Shi snatched the long sword. It felt slightly heavy in his hand, and a stream of pure gung metal aura rushed toward his face. He injected spiritual power into it. The composite runes on the sword body lit up instantly, and a 3-foot-long golden sword light flickered, cutting the air and making a hissing sound. Spiritual power boost by 30%. No, 35%. Sharpness increased by 50%. The compatibility of this rune. Seamless. Absolutely seamless. Lu Shi caressed the sword body, as if caressing his lover. His face flushed red with excitement. Middle grade. This is a genuine middle grade spiritual tool. He suddenly raised his head, looking at Zhao Ruoan with an expression of seeing a monster. Using second-rank materials to refine a middle grade spiritual tool. You broke the grade shackles of the materials. As soon as this was said, Bai Ming and Lu Xing also rushed over like madmen, one touching the hilt, one touching the tip, muttering to themselves, appearing crazed. A monster, a true monster. I have refined artifacts for 400 years. Only today do I know that my 400 years have all been lived in vain. Elder Bai Ming sighed up to the sky, his face filled with a feeling of having nothing to live for. 4 days. It only took him 4 days to walk the road that took us a lifetime. Elder Lu Xing muttered to himself. His mental state completely collapsed. The artifact refining great Tao they pursued all their their lives, in front of this teenager, was actually so naive, so laughable. Fu Gao stood to the side, also filled with bitterness and shock. Zhao Ruoan adjusted his breath for a while, recovering a bit of strength, looking at these dejected elders, and spoke. It's a pity, the limit of second-rank materials is ultimately limited. To refine a high-grade spiritual tool, I'm afraid I will need higher-grade materials. He was just sighing casually, but these words falling into the ears of Lu Shi and the others, were no less than a thunderbolt. What did he mean? He is still not satisfied? He still wants to refine a high-grade spiritual tool? The several elders whose mental states had just collapsed, seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw, instantly resurrecting on the spot. Materials. Junior uncle, do you lack materials? Lu Shi patted his chest, heroic and cloudy. My artifact refining hall's treasure house. Third-rank materials are yours to choose. What is third rank? Elder Bai Ming pushed him away, roaring with a flushed face. Junior uncle, I privately collected a piece of fourth-rank red flame essence gold, originally prepared for refining a natal magic treasure for my grandson when he builds his foundation. If you can use it, I will go get it for you now. Old Bai's red flame essence gold counts for nothing. Elder Lu Xing also refused to be outdone. I still have half a piece of 5th rank outer heaven meteorite iron. It was a reward from the sect. I haven't had the heart to use it. Junior uncle, if you don't mind, just take it. Fu Gao also panicked, shouting at the top of his lungs. Don't fight anymore. Our Tianhua Peak's treasure of the peak. That piece of 6th rank purple star gold. No one can move it except the peak master. I will beg the peak master. Even if I have to kneel down to beg, I will ask him to let junior uncle use the materials. In an instant, the entire artifact refining room became as noisy as a porridge pot. Several prestigious elders, in order to let Zhao Ruoan use their own materials, argued until their faces were red, almost fighting on the spot. Duan He huddled in the corner, completely stunned. Is this the treatment of an immortal? Stop. Stop for a moment. Zhao Ruoan had to speak up to interrupt this argument. The refining room instantly became quiet. The four elders looked at him in unison, their expressions somewhat awkward. Several seniors. You do this. This disciple really cannot afford it. Zhao Ruoan smiled bitterly and bowed. I understand your intentions. It's just that this junior is shallow in learning, and cannot afford such kind treatment from you all. Lu Shi cleared his throat, taking the lead to state his position. Junior uncle, don't be polite with us. Yes, junior uncle. Elder Bai Ming didn't care about his face anymore. Just say, what materials do you want to use? As long as you speak, we will get them for you even if we have to go through mountains of knives and seas of fire. We do it not for anything else, just to watch from the side. If we can learn even a move or half a style from you, it would be enough to benefit us for a lifetime. Elder Lu Xing's words were the most honest. This was their true purpose. Stealing skills. Fu Gao, as the person who discovered this uncut jade Zhao Ruoan earliest, felt even more honored at this moment. He stepped forward, bowing deeply to Zhao Ruoan, his attitude sincere to the extreme. Junior uncle, this old man has a request. When you refine artifacts in the future, if you have any new concepts, or new ideas, could you share them with us? We will definitely not listen for free. What do you need? Whether it is materials, pills, or running errands and doing chores, we old guys will take care of it all. As soon as these words came out, Lu Shi and the others nodded in agreement. They had figured it out. Competing in talent with this monster is asking for humiliation. Since they can't beat him, then join him. Hold this peerless thigh tightly, and in the future, there will be no worry about progress in the artifact refining path. Zhao Ruoan looked at these elders whose attitudes had done a 180-degree turn. His heart was as clear as a mirror. He was not the kind of person who cherishes his secrets. What's more, although he has the system's heaven-defying comprehension bonus, in terms of experience and knowledge reserves, compared to these old-school artifact refiners who have been immersed in this path for hundreds of years, he is still an out-and-out rookie. Learning from each other, and progressing together, is the right way. Elder Fu, you are too polite. Zhao Ruoan frankly accepted this bow, and then spoke. Several seniors are all masters of artifact refining, with rich experience. This junior has many puzzles, and wants to ask you all for advice. In the future, if there are any insights, we can communicate with each other. It's not a matter of sharing or not sharing. His words were flawless, both accepting the request of the other party, and giving enough face to these elders. Lu Shi and the others, upon hearing this, were all overjoyed. Good. Junior uncle is righteous. Then we will not be modest. From now on, junior uncle, you are half the master of our Tianhua Peak. If you have anything, just order us. The atmosphere suddenly became harmonious. Duan He in the corner had gone from the initial shock to numbness to now completely lying flat. The gap between people sometimes is larger than the gap between humans and dogs. He spent 30 years, barely able to refine low-grade profound artifacts, and still had to look at the success rate. Others took 4 days, starting from zero, straight to the point, refining a middle-grade spiritual tool, and turning a group of elder-level big shots into little fans. Where is the reason for this? Zhao Ruoan, seeing that the matter was settled, then took the opportunity to put forward his needs. By the way, several seniors, I am new to this path, and know very little about the characteristics of various spirit materials, as well as the refining blueprints of high-grade magic treasures. I wonder if in the sect, there are relevant high-grade classics for this disciple to borrow. He planned to charge himself up first. one cannot improvise every time. Hearing this, the faces of Lu Shi and the others revealed a look of embarrassment. Junior uncle, it's not that we are stingy. Lu Shi rubbed his hands, explaining, the Sect Scripture Pavilion has strict rules. The borrowing of high-grade classics requires a massive amount of Sect contribution points. Although we are elders, we have no power to break this rule for you. However, his tone shifted. A look of determination appeared on his face. We cannot give the sects, but we can give our private ones. Having said that, he took out a thick, old book with a leather cover from his storage ring, and handed it over solemnly. Junior uncle, this is 100 refining artifact solutions that I obtained from an ancient cave abode when I traveled in my early years. Inside, it records the refining experience of over 100 kinds of high-grade magic treasures. It can be considered my treasure at the bottom of the box. Today, I gift it to you. Junior uncle. Elder Bai Ming, seeing this, also panicked, and hurriedly took out his treasure. I have a copy of Strange Fire Records here, recording the characteristics and manipulation methods of 36 types of heaven and earth strange fires. I have new compilation of runes. It is the crystallization of my life's hard work on the research of composite runes. Elder Lu Xing also shoved a thick notebook over. Fu Gao finally stepped forward. What he took out was a jade slip. Junior uncle, I don't have any precious classics. Inside here is the summary and reflection of every failed artifact refining of mine over these 400 years. I hope it can be of some use to you. Compared to those classics of success, the value of this mistake collection might be even more precious. Zhao Rowan looked at these heavy classics and notebooks in his hand. They were the life's work of several elders, their true foundation, and now, they were handed to him without reservation. He did not say any more polite words, but solemnly put the things away, and then bowed deeply to the four people. Many thanks for the generous gifts of the four seniors. Meanwhile, Qinghan Peak, the gate of a quiet room covered with ice crystals, slowly opened. A woman in a white long dress, with a cold temperament, walked out from it. It was Zhao Rowan's eldest senior sister, Luo Li. She had been in seclusion for a month, and her cultivation had improved further. Her mood should have been good. Qiuyin, Xiama. Her cold voice echoed in the courtyard. The two maids hurriedly ran over, bowing respectfully. Eldest senior sister, where is junior brother? Before I went into seclusion, master handed him over to us to look after. He is new to cultivation, just at the time of building a foundation. I will go see how his homework is doing. As Luo Li spoke, she prepared to walk toward Zhao Rowan's courtyard. Qiuyin and Xiama looked at each other, their expressions a bit strange. Back to eldest senior sister, Qiuyin said in a low voice. Junior brother, these few days, he is not in the peak. Not here? Luo Li stopped her steps, her brows slightly furrowed. Where did he go? Xiama added on the side. Junior brother went to Tianhua Peak. I heard that. He went to learn artifact refining. Artifact refining? Luo Li's tone rose by a notch. In her view, Zhao Rowan possesses 5th rank sword intent, is a once in 10,000 year sword Dao genius. His future achievements are limitless. His path should be to be focused, courageous and diligent, and ascend to the peak of sword Dao early. Now, he actually went to learn something like artifact refining? Is this not putting the cart before the horse? Not attending to his proper business? Nonsense. Luo Li's tone was a bit annoyed. How much does master value his talent? How could he waste his time like this, spending his energy on side paths? Qiuyin and Xiama were frozen by the cold aura radiating from her. Daring not to speak anymore, Luo Li stood still, her chest rising and falling slightly. She felt that she had the necessity, and the responsibility, to pull junior brother back from the wrong path. This matter must be reported to master. She turned around, and walked straight toward the cloud hall on the peak where Yun Qinghan was located. She wanted master to know how unmotivated her precious disciple was. Inside the cloud hall, cold air permeated. Luo Li stood in the hall. Master. She bowed to the beautiful figure with her back to all beings. Junior brother, he went to Tianhua Peak, spending all day with those blacksmiths, indulging in the art of artifact refining, wasting his sword Dao cultivation. Her voice was full of confusion and annoyance at Zhao Rowan's distraction. In her view, possessing 5th rank sword intent, he should be moving forward without hesitation, focused, taking the sword Dao to the extreme. Distraction is a great taboo in cultivation. Master values his aptitude so much. How could he fail your expectations like this? Yun Qinghan did not turn around, just calmly watching the surging sea of clouds outside the hall. I know. Her voice had no ripples. I gave him 7 days. After 7 days, if he cannot give me a satisfactory explanation, I will let him understand what true cultivation is. Yun Qinghan's tone was very flat, but Luo Li heard the unusual meaning. Master has thought of disciplining junior brother. She said no more, bowing and retreating. The 7-day deadline arrived in a flash. On this day, Yun Qinghan rose from the meditation cushion. The immortal rhyme and Dao essence around her body quietly faded. The time has come. She walked toward the outside of the hall. Master, this disciple wishes to go along. Luo Li's figure appeared at the hall entrance. She also wanted to see with her own eyes what kind of mess her junior brother had made at Tianhua Peak these 7 days. Yun Qinghan did not say yes or no, considering it as tacit approval. Two peerless figures turned into streams of light, shooting straight toward the direction of Tianhua Peak. Tianhua Peak, geothermal core area. This is the place where the earth vein flames of the entire mountain mountain peak are the most vigorous. In a top-tier refining room that is usually listed as a forbidden area, which only the peak master Lu Shi is qualified to use, heat waves were rolling. Zhao Ruoan was standing in front of a giant refining furnace that was bright red all over, and engraved with countless profound runes. This Red Sun 9-turn furnace itself is a high-grade spiritual tool, its fire control ability, far superior to the ordinary refining furnaces outside. In order for Zhao Ruoan to fully perform, Lu Shi spent a lot of money this time, directly giving up his own rice bowl. At this moment, Lu Shi, Bai Ming, Lu Xing, Fu Gao, the four elders, stood on all sides, their expressions solemn. Lu Shi was standing behind Zhao Ruoan, his hands pressed against his back, continuously conveying his pure spiritual power. There is no way. Zhao Ruoan played too big this time. What he wanted to refine was a 4th-rank spiritual tool. The main material used was exactly the 4th-rank red flame essence gold privately collected by Elder Bai Ming. With Zhao Ruoan's early-stage gathering spirit realm cultivation, wanting to smelt 4th-rank materials, the spiritual power reserve was simply a drop in the bucket. Just maintaining the operation of the Red Sun 9-turn furnace was enough to drain him dry. Steady. Zhao Ruoan gave a low drink, his divine sense highly concentrated, turning into countless invisible tentacles, probing into the furnace. Inside the furnace, a total of 6 masses of spiritual liquid with different attributes were frantically rolling, emitting a violent and complex aura. Besides red flame essence gold, there was also a small piece of scrap material of purple star gold contributed by Elder Fu Gao, as well as several other 3rd-rank top-tier auxiliary materials. He wanted to craft a unique gift for his master and 3 senior sisters. This was the explanation he gave to his master. The spiritual nature of high-grade materials is far beyond 2nd rank. The fusion difficulty increases geometrically. The slightest carelessness would mean the furnace is destroyed and death follows. Zhao Ruoan's forehead was already covered with fine beads of sweat, his face a bit pale. Controlling 6 masses of high-grade spiritual liquid to fuse at the same time was terrifying for the consumption of divine sense. But he was still persisting. Divine sense like silk, breaking down every mass of spiritual liquid into the finest units, trying different ratios of blending and docking over and over again. Under his precise control, those 6 violent spiritual liquids miraculously did not have a violent repulsion. They were like 6 streams that didn't know each other, being guided by an invisible great hand, slowly flowing into the same lake. A brand new, liquid prototype with multi-attribute halos was slowly taking shape in the furnace. The entire process, although difficult, was orderly. Tianhua Peak Mountain Gate Square. Look quickly. What is that? A disciple practicing martial arts suddenly stopped his movements, pointing at the sky and shouting. Everyone looked up, seeing 2 streaks of light from far to near, finally landing lightly in the center of the square. The light dissipated, revealing 2 beautiful figures. One was peerless and graceful, with an ethereal aura, as if not belonging to this world. One was as cold as the moon, with an otherworldly temperament, like a snow lotus on an iceberg. It was Yun Qinghan and Luo Li. Hiss. All the disciples in the square gasped. It is Peak Master Yun of Qinghan Peak. My god, how could Peak Master Yun come to our Tianhua Peak? Is that senior sister Luo Li beside her? In person, she is even more beautiful than the rumors. For a time, everyone's movement stopped. The scene was silent. These 2 are figures at the peak of the pyramid of the Qingxian sect, usually seeing the dragon but not the tail. Today they actually came together. A seemingly clever inner disciple hurriedly trotted forward. He is Lu Shi Elder's personal disciple, Feng Chuan. Disciple Feng Chuan pays respect to Peak Master Yun, senior sister Luo. Feng Chuan was so nervous that he couldn't even speak clearly. He secretly glanced at Luo Li, his heart jumping wildly in an unpromising manner. Yun Qinghan ignored his unease, and spoke directly, her voice like heavenly music, but carrying a majesty. Where is Zhao Ruoan? Zhao Ruoan? Feng Chuan was stunned. His brain didn't turn around for a while. This name was like thunder in his ears. Isn't that the peerless monster who had an epiphany of 5th-rank sword intent in front of the mountain gate, and was snatched away by Peak Master Yun? Why would he come to our Tianhua Peak? Bah! Back to Peak Master. That senior brother Zhao. He should be practicing at Qinghan Peak, right? This disciple has never heard that he has been to our Tianhua Peak. Feng Chuan was full of confusion. Luo Li's brows furrowed slightly. Could it be that junior brother has already gone back? Yun Qinghan remained expressionless, changing the question. Where is your master Lu Shi? Oh, master is in the geothermal core area in seclusion for artifact refining. It has been several days. Feng Chuan answered honestly. As soon as the words fell, Yun Qinghan ignored him, turning and walking in the direction of the geothermal core area. Luo Li followed behind, her heart also feeling uneasy. Master is going to the refining room. Could it be? She dared not think further, hurrying to keep up with master's pace, leaving behind the crowd of disciples in the square, and Feng Chuan, who was still in a dazed state, staring at each other. Entrance to geothermal core area. The 2 deacons responsible for guarding, upon seeing the person coming, were so scared their legs went soft, bowing tremblingly, not even daring to lift their heads. Yun Qinghan directly ignored them, stepping into the deep, dark passage leading to the underground. At the end of the passage, a heavy stone gate was tightly closed, covered with prohibition formations. Behind the door was Lu Shi's exclusive refining room. The stone gate was thick, cutting off all all sound from inside and outside. The complicated formation patterns on the door flowed with faint light, indicating the tight security here. The two door-guarding deacons lowered their heads silently. Yun Qinghan turned around, happening to meet Feng Chuan, who was panting as he caught up. "Lead the way." The two cold words made Feng Chuan shudder. "Lead the way? Go where?" Feng Chuan's brain ran rapidly. Cold sweat ran down his temples. Master's artifact refining is most taboo to outsiders' interference. This is an iron rule that everyone up and down Tianhua Peak knows. If he dared to bring people to Master's dedicated refining room, he would be peeled of a layer of skin afterward. But the person in front is Yun Qinghan. In the entire Qingxian sect, who would dare to say a word no to her? Defying the sect's orders is a chronic death. Offending Peak Master Yun is dying on the spot. This life-threatening question had no choice at all. Feng Chuan wore a mourning face, gesturing with a please, his voice trembling. "Peak Master Yun, Senior Sister Luo, this way, please." The group detoured around this refining room, walking toward the deeper part, which is also the place with higher terrain. The higher they went, the higher the temperature in the air. The scorching tide was almost about to ignite people's eyebrows. The slab road under their feet turned dark red, emitting amazing heat. Feng Chuan felt that his body-protecting spiritual power was being consumed rapidly, and his inner self was complaining bitterly. This is the true core forbidden area of Tianhua Peak. The peak area, only the top few artifact refining elders in the sect are qualified to have their own exclusive refining room here. As Lu Shi's personal disciple, his talent is outstanding among his peers, but so far, he has only been allowed to open a refining room in the hillside area. This peak, it was also his first time stepping on it, never expecting to come up in this way. Just ahead, not far away, a more magnificent refining hall appeared in view. In front of the hall gate, a figure stood like a javelin, blocking the way. "Stop those who come." The man was wearing a grey tight outfit, his aura steady, his temples bulging high, clearly a body cultivator with extraordinary cultivation. Feng Chuan's heart skipped a beat, recognizing the person. Tianhua Peak guest elder, Wang Qi. This person is not an artifact refiner, but a powerful protector, specifically responsible for guarding the safety of the refining room during the seclusion of Lu Shi and other elders. Wang Qi also saw the people coming. When he identified Yun Qinghan's identity, a look of surprise flashed across his face, but he still cupped his fists and bowed, speaking neither humble nor arrogant. Wang Qi pays respect to Peak Master Yun. Elder Lu has an order. During the seclusion, no one is allowed to approach the important refining area. I hope Peak Master Yun can forgive me. He bit the words, "no one," very heavily, implying that, even you, Peak Master Yun, must obey the rules of our Tianhua Peak. Luo Li's face turned cold. A mere guest elder, daring to block Master's footsteps. Yun Qinghan didn't have much expression. She just asked, "Is my disciple Zhao Rowan inside?" Wang Qi paused for a moment, then answered truthfully, "Back to Peak Master Yun. Junior nephew Zhao is indeed inside." He paused, then added, "Junior nephew Zhao is with Elder Lu, Elder Fu, Elder Bai, Elder Lu, in seclusion for artifact refining together." Feng Chuan was completely stupid. What? With Elder Lu, Elder Fu, Elder Bai, Elder Lu, refining artifacts together? How is this possible? Those are the four most powerful artifact refining big shots of Tianhua Peak. As Master's personal disciple, usually wanting to ask Master for a pointer or two depends on his mood. Being able to observe Master refining profound artifacts is already a huge gift. That Zhao Rowan, an outsider from Qinghan Peak, a new disciple who has only been in for a few days. Why can he make four elders accompany him to refine artifacts? What is this? Is it stars surrounding the moon? An indescribable sourness and jealousy instantly crushed Feng Chuan's reason. Luo Li was also stunned. She originally thought that Zhao Rowan just found a place at Tianhua Peak, messing around by himself. Now it seems, the nature of the matter is completely different. Who is Lu Shi? An artifact refining grandmaster ranked in the Great Xia dynasty, famous for being arrogant, with a lonely temperament. Let him guide a newcomer, and bring three other elders together? There must be a monster when things go against the normal. Yun Qinghan finished listening to Wang Qi, still had that calm look, but in her eyes that seemed to pierce through all falsehoods in the world, confusion appeared for the first time. She knew the character of Lu Shi's group better than anyone. Could it be that her little disciple who has only been in for 7 days really did it? I want to go in. Yun Qinghan did not talk nonsense. Lifting her step and walking forward, she wanted to see with her own eyes what her disciple was doing inside. Peak Master Yun. No. Wang Qi's figure shifted, blocking the door again, his attitude tough. Without Elder Lu's hand order, no one can enter. This is an iron rule, and this is my duty. Please do not make it difficult for this junior. Although he was nervous, he did not back down. Taking money and doing things for others, he received Lu Shi's offerings, so he must guard this door well. The air, at this moment solidified. The scorching tide seemed to be frozen. Yun Qinghan stopped, quietly looking at him. She said nothing, also did not release any pressure. But Wang Qi felt as if he was stared at by a peerless fierce beast awakened from ancient wildness. Every inch of skin, every pore, was frantically sending him fatal danger signals. Cold sweat instantly soaked his back. His legs began to tremble uncontrollably. The courage he had built up was disintegrating at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally, Yun Qinghan spoke slowly, her voice like 9-day black ice. furnace. Do you want to stop me? The spiritual power in Wang Qi's body completely stagnated at this moment. He had a feeling, as long as the other party is willing, a thought could make his soul and flesh completely separate, destroying his body and soul on the spot. This is the true strength of the #1 combat power of the Qingxian sect. The little courage he had before to defend his duty was crushed in front of this invisible momentum. Thump. His knees softened, and he knelt down uncontrollably. The hard dark red floor tiles were cracked into 2 clear fissures by his knees. He lowered his head, shivering all over, unable to say a complete sentence anymore. Junior, doesn't dare. He tremblingly took out an ancient jade key from his bosom. Peak Master. Junior has eyes but didn't know Mount Tai offended you. If you want to enter, you can. But please, I beg you, do not make a sound, and do not interrupt the refining. He was almost begging. Elder Lu and the others are refining a very critical object. It has reached the most critical moment. Once disturbed, not only will everything fall short, but the violent spiritual power backlash in the furnace may even seriously injure several elders. And junior nephew Zhao Yun Qinghan originally came to confirm the disciple's situation, not to deliberately destroy. Okay, she spat out one word, considering it as a promise. Inside the refining room, the fire of the Red Sun 9-turn furnace was flourishing. Lu Shi, Bai Ming, Lu Xing, Fu Gao, 4 elders, like 4 guardian deities, surrounded the refining furnace, each concentrating. All their attention was focused on the young figure inside the furnace tripod. Zhao Ruoan's divine sense control had reached an artful level. 6 masses of top-tier spiritual liquid with different attributes, under the guidance of his divine sense threads, perfectly completed the initial fusion. That kind of subtle control over spiritual power to the extreme, that kind of unbelievable blending method. Let these grandmaster level figures who have been immersed in the artifact refining path for hundreds of years watch as if intoxicated. This is not refining artifacts. This is performing the great Tao. They felt that their long-sealed artifact refining bottlenecks were all showing signs of loosening in this short observation. Following Zhao Ruoan's last hand seal, the colorful fusion spiritual liquid in the furnace began to follow his will, slowly molding and taking shape. A rough outline appeared in front of everyone. Lu Shi was the first to frown. What is this? It doesn't look like a sword, doesn't look like a bell, tripod, tower, or seal-type magic treasure. The form of this object is very strange. Fu Gao also couldn't help but transmit his voice to the Bai Ming beside him. Bai Ming was also confused. He saw it clearly. The object taking shape was slender and elegant. One end had a slight arc. The other end seemed to be carved with some complicated patterns. This thing, no matter how you look at it, it looks like a hairpin used by women in the mortal world to hold their hair. Using 4th rank red flame essence gold, plus the scrap material of purple star gold, supplemented by several 3rd rank top-tier spirit materials, just to refine a hairpin, wasting heaven's treasure. Several elders had this thought at the same time. The expression looking at Zhao Ruoan became strange. They couldn't figure out at all. Consuming such a huge cost to refine a piece of women's jewelry. What exactly was it for? Just at this moment, creak, an extremely subtle, but exceptionally clear opening sound in the extremely quiet refining room, reached everyone's ears. Instantly, the complexions of the 4 elders changed together. Lu Shi's face was directly covered with anger. Which blind thing, dares to disturb at this time? Didn't I already give the death order, that no one is allowed to approach? What is that waste Wang Qi doing? A rage rushed straight to the crown. Lu Shi turned around suddenly, opening his mouth to curse, but the words were stuck in his throat. Seeing the gap in the stone gate, Wang Qi was poking half his body out, a face wrinkled into a bitter melon, trying his best to wink at him. Immediately, Wang Qi moved to the side, giving up the position behind him. 2 figures, one in front and one behind, walked in from outside the door. The person in the lead, dressed in white better than snow, peerless and graceful. It is Yun Qinghan. Lu Shi's anger instantly extinguished cleanly. His whole person froze on the spot. Bai Ming, Lu Xing, Fu Gao, 3 elders, were also in the expression of having seen a ghost. Peak Master Yun, how did she come? In the next breath, they seemed to have thought of something, their movements turning in unison, looking at the jade hairpin slowly taking shape in the furnace. An absurd but incredibly reasonable thought emerged in the minds of the 4 elders. So that's how it is. Zhao Ruoan in the center of the furnace tripod was completely unaware of all this. In his world, there only remained this mass of constantly changing spiritual liquid, divine sense threads, like the most exquisite embroidery needles, guiding 6 materials with completely different attributes, to weave and fuse in an unreasonable way. The furnace fire fluctuated slightly. Zhao Ruoan increased or decreased the divine sense output, forcibly smoothing out those discords. He is using a method that ordinary people cannot understand, to expound the supreme law of an object from nothing to existence. Yun Qinghan stood at the door, on her face of 10,000 years of ice. For the first time, an emotion called confusion appeared. She had envisioned countless possibilities before coming. Her little disciple was arrogant, unself-aware, making a mess of the refining room. Or perhaps, he was just 3 minutes of enthusiasm, finding a place to be lazy and sleep. Only the scene before her